Knucklehead Comics Tuesday. It's fucking Tuesday. We got Lay in the building. We got Cap in the building. Cabs can't make it tonight, but he's here in spirit. On Lay.
No, man, just chilling, brother, chilling.
What's up, Cap? How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Is that and the father goes shamefully? That's my son. And the other guy goes shamefully. Orion goes, that's my father. Choose fear and hate to run your life. Something you can't do. That was wrong with me from the beginning. I was doing it that way. I was gonna go down that path. I worried.
You thought it was Grayson?
Sorry, got hurt. It's like not him. Not him.
Crack his brain for somebody, anybody that can help, and remembers. Freeze.
The media.
Randall Savage.
Randall Savage. With his knowledge and all other shit and his capacity to learn.
Absolutely.
This is the only vegan I'll ever eat is grilled chicken wings, because that's like vegan to me. You know what I'm saying? Because the chicken wings are supposed to be fried, but you grill the chicken wings, you put it in some sauce, and give it some blue cheese.
Is vegan.
That's vegan. Like regular moo cow fuck milk, put it in some Honey Nut Cheerios, vegan, because Honey Nut Cheerios good for your heart. You know what I'm saying? Can I steal the question from Cabs?
I got it right. Look at this.
I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal.
You're too late.
Wow.
I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right. And I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Yeah, I go with the flow. Cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. In the zone, here I go. Yeah, they know I'm a pro. Let's go, let's go! Yeah! Let's go! Here I go, I get lit, I get hyped for this shit! Right.
Word. He be like, I got a left elbow and a right elbow. I can break your face with an any elbow. Make sure that you get elbowed in your elbow with an elbow. Got the arm ball, get the phone ball, get around with the arm and the bomb ball.
Daddy's gonna take you to Jersey Shore.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday night and it's Knucklehead Comics in the building, and we have the legendary writers and creators of the X-Men animated series, Eric and Julia Lewald. There you go. That's why we have Cap here. He learns information, man. Appreciate you guys coming on the show. Thank you for being here. Very excited. Very excited. How are you guys doing today?
Having a grand time. Just the intro alone was very funny.
Yes, we like to have fun with these shows. You know, our guy Pro, he's in the chat right now. He's the one that made the intro for us. You know,
Thank him.
Yeah, he done a wonderful job. And like I said, very excited to have you guys here. I'm a little nervous.
There's gonna be a lot of nerves. I'm probably gonna say thank you about 35 times this show.
Yes,
I love it more.
There's gonna be a lot of geeking out, a lot of geeking out. You know, so get ready. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, a little fun fact: I didn't grow up reading comics, but everything I learned from the X-Men came from your show. So like I grew up. The Phoenix Saga was real. Like no one ever did the Phoenix Saga as good as y'all, and I'll fight anybody for it.
Absolutely. I can jump in here and again shut me off if you need to, but go in the Wayback Machine to the year 1992. There was some families had VCR machines. That was a big deal, but there was no internet. There was no Google. Comic book shops were off, by themselves in the corner.
There've been no X-Men movies.
There've been no
MCU.
None of that. And one of the things we can talk about is that when Eric got tapped to develop X-Men comic books into a series, the president of Fox Kids, Margaret Lesh, all credit to her because she's the one who made all of this happen, including Batman the Animated Series
and Spider-Man,
all of that. That's on her.
That's all her.
But she had been trying because she worked for Marvel to get a show on the air for 10 years. ABC, NBC, CBS wouldn't.
They just said the comic book stuff's not going to work with American kids.
They're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Deep
no.
And she said, I can guarantee you, because it was the biggest selling book. She said, I can guarantee you how many.
A million.
A million. And they all said, well, that's comic books. On TV, we need 3. So when she became the president of Fox Kids, one of the things she said to Eric was, you need to understand 85% of the country won't know who the X-Men are. And you got to introduce them fast, and you got to explain it quickly.
And be real clear and not confuse everybody, because there's a bunch of new people. It's a weird new world.
Mutants, I don't know, superpowers like that.
But so, that's how different it was 30 years ago when we were asked to do this thing. It was just, now the artists that were on the show had been reading the comics since they were little kids, and they knew that we had this gem here. And they just looked at us and said, just don't screw it up. Please, guys. I've done Marvel stuff before. Just don't screw it up.
So speaking of that, I'll go into my first question. So, I mean, for comic book fans, all different ages, all different shapes and sizes, from all different regions of the world, X-Men, the animated series, is the definitive X-Men experience, right? How does that feel to just be a part of that and going to the Comic-Cons and talking about it? Like, elaborate a little on that, please.
Well, if you can believe it, when I was a writer on X-Men the Animated Series and wrote on a bunch of other shows as an animation writer. Eric was what I officially call the developed for television by guy. His name appears on every single episode. Every script ran through him. But good Lord, I lost my complete train of thought there.
You asked me how it's called at Comic-Con.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because guys, we've worked on dozens of different shows, and some of you guys seems like we've watched every one over 30-some years. It was our day job.
We're calling you from our home office.
Yeah,
this is where we've been.
We laid out the first season of X-Men on our dining room table. That's how elaborate and weird it was. So to us, we're just shoving the scripts at the artists, and they're drawing them as fast as they can, and it's kind of a low budget deal, and so we're getting them overseas and getting them animated as fast as we can. So when we're doing it, it feels like the best thing we've ever been part of, but you never know. You can do a real good job, and if it doesn't catch the audience, it just becomes a failure, and you just go on the next one and hope for better. So we finished this up in July, and it's supposed to come out in the fall. It didn't really come out until January. And so we weren't like, we're let go, and we went on to another job. Didn't know if it was going to be a success or not. And so okay, it hits real big, and we come back. We got some idea that, hey, there are people all over the country, maybe all over the world, starting to watch this. We got a little sense of that.
The ratings were very strong. Fox Kids was really pleased, but we didn't know.
But it's like, we're not like this. If you're a rock musician or a live wrestler or whatever, and you got 50,000 people screaming and yelling because they're enjoying your work, that's immediate. You get it. Oh, okay, I'm doing all right. I connected. But we're just writing the scripts in our office and handing them off. There was until we started going to Comic-Cons.
5 years ago.
We
had not been going before then.
We didn't, and we go to Comic-Cons, there'd be hundreds and hundreds of people. This is 25 years after the show was done. Hundreds and hundreds of people dressed up as a character still, and wanting to talk to us about the show and giving us all this endless love. And so, we really had no appreciation for how big a thing, how many hundreds of millions of people saw this thing.
But to Cabs' point, and I just want to sort of reiterate that Fox Kids, the 90s, was a golden age. Yeah. And we were sort of friendly. We knew everyone working on the Batman series. And
I was going to say that, yeah.
Batman has always had and deserves the full support of Warner Brothers Studio and DC Comics. God bless X-Men, but Marvel was falling apart financially. Yeah. They were selling off rights right and left. So while Batman, deservedly so, has had 30 years of recognition and support, X-Men didn't have that. And until I started poking you around the 25th anniversary of the show saying, if we don't tell a story about this, there's no one going to do it.
Write the book.
And so Eric did. Eric wrote a book, and that got us an entree into going to cons. And that was our first taste 5 years ago that there were fans out there.
And even think about it, the voice talent. People don't know what they look like. It's not like if you're Hugh Jackman, everybody gets, oh, hey, the face. But our guy that created the voice back in '92, Cal Dodd. Until we started asking cons to bring them on, and because none of them had been to a con until about 3-4 years ago.
Because they're all in Canada.
They all live up in Canada. That's where it's recorded. They're all from Toronto, and those just nobody knew them, and they didn't know there were 100 million fans out there. But then they started guessing. Oh, okay, it's like every other person you bump into knows the show, and it was a real revelation to us.
Yeah, and the voices. Listen, I'm not going to argue about Hugh Jackman, but I'll tell you, when I see Wolverine, an image of Wolverine, I hear Cal Dodd.
Yes. I was just about to say that when I
for Jean Grey, for Phoenix.
When I read the comic books, those are the voices I hear right away when I read the comic books. Those it's like Batman, the Fortune with Kevin Conroy versus Soul. With him, it's the same thing. It's like that Wolverine is what I hear, or that Cyclops, or that Nightcrawler, or that Professor Xavier. Same thing. It's like it correlates. You know what I mean?
And that was some dumb luck too, because shut us up when you want to.
Please.
Yeah, we were doing this weird new thing that all the executives are getting pushed back on it. We're backing this up, and
92.
But people that are putting money into the show, or the advertisers, or people that had television stations all across the nation, were starting to seeing early scripts and things. What the hell are you guys doing? Kids aren't going to watch this. This is some adult.
So I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Right. So you mentioned Batman, and Batman was already, a success with its darker tone and some more grown-up situations, and obviously the way Bruce and Batman came to be. Now, X-Men was dealing with some completely different and more sensitive topics, I would say. You guys were doing inclusion before inclusion was cool, right? So, how important was it to get that out there, and most importantly, get it correct as you guys did?
Yeah. Well, it was weird. What happened was everybody kind of just threw in and had each other's back. There were, if you read my stupid book, there's 7 or 8 times where it could have all just fallen apart. Where we could have, because we've been on other shows where we try to do something this serious or half this serious, and you get pushed back and say, no, it's for little kids, dumb it down, take all these big words out.
Yeah.
We've even had those meetings. Take all the big words out. And we fight, and then our boss would look at us and say, yeah, well, it's their money, so and
it's always their money.
Shut up and do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this case, the executives backed us up all the way, and we go to them with a question that's just make it even more intense.
Yeah.
So for the one time in our lives, we're really thankful. All the executives at Fox were amazing.
Yeah.
And so
starting with Margaret Lash.
And so as far as getting it right, in the end, we all looked at each other and just said, we're writing this for ourselves. If we go down in flames and this is only one season, and because I say, we all wrote it and drew it, and everybody was let go to go work on something else while we waited for it to be animated, because they didn't want to keep us on salary.
Yeah.
Well, we just thought, okay, well, we don't know if people are going to like it, but this is a show we want to do we're all about 30 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we want to do for our audience. And we're writing the stories for ourselves, and we want to be true. And also, you have these serious comic books behind you.
Yeah.
If it was something else, you couldn't have argued as hard with people about keeping it intense and keeping it adult. But the comics were already, Chris Claremont and these people.
Oh my God.
They already were writing intense stuff. So we had that as kind of as a backup, but that doesn't guarantee you anything. We had a show at Hanna-Barbera worked on, Popeye and Son, where the network walked when they sold the idea, and we went to him and said, okay, well, let's get this done. He said, well, first of all, you can't have Popeye and Bluto hitting each other. Why are we doing Popeye if they're not hitting each other?
For real.
That's the point right there.
Yeah.
But in this one case, everybody on the creative side and everybody on the executive side would pull in the same direction against some heavy headwinds, wanting to simplify it, wanting it to be like more like other cartoons, and somehow held it together. And so suddenly when it's successful, after 2 weeks on the air and everybody says the ratings are high, everybody else shuts up. And so for the next 4 years, we don't have any pushback at all. We just write what we want. But that first year was hard.
And I want, again, he wasn't kidding. It was our dining room table, you and your head writer, Mark Edens.
Right.
Margaret Lesh, I keep bringing her name up, but as the new president of Fox Kids, as a new network, she had a boss, and she went to the boss and said, edict, Batman and X-Men, I want to do X-Men. And he goes, X-Men, no one knows what it is. It's not going to work.
And it's too adult.
It's too adult.
I don't get it. He said, do you want to risk your job?
And she said, give me 1 season. And if it goes out and goes down, I'm out of here. And she put her job on the line. So you and Mark were told you have 13 episodes only. Only 13 episodes.
Make them pay.
And me as a writer, going, well, I just came off of Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. Okay, what are we doing here? And you go, what the hell? Oh, I love that show.
We met at Disney. It's a different world, but you want to be true to the source material.
Yes.
And we were told you don't write down. You write up. You think of this as an hour-long primetime drama. It happens to be half-hour animated Saturday morning.
Wow.
That's the only time we've been told that. And I'm hearing from you guys, it sounds like we were able to hit that as best we could under circumstances. But 13 episodes, one and done. So you crafted those 13 to be the whole story. And then with luck, the ratings came in as strong as they did. And
boy, that was good. We had 2 little babies at the time. And that meant like a couple of years of guaranteed income.
Yeah, in our universe. Yeah. In the free
market, there's a question in the chat, and I kind of like want to go off on that question in the chat. It's a question for Julia. Did you have a favorite character to write about?
Oh,
and I want to hop on with that. Is there a character that you related to more than the other characters as you're writing for them? Each one of you, like, is there a character you looked at and you was like, I completely understand this character, and there's another one you were like, I don't get it.
You know what? It's gonna be the same answer, I think, and it's just because the backstory here. I'm older, and I was a very geeky girl growing up in Texas with a black and white TV with a antenna made out of a coat hanger, trying to watch Star Trek on UHF. So Star Trek was my, oh my God, I see a world, I see this, I get this. These are my people in Star Trek. Fast forward 35 years on X-Men, and I adore Beast. Beast is the smartest guy in the room.
25 years.
25. Thank you. Smartest guy in the room. He's the most intellectual. He is the most. We tease each other. Oh, he's a damaged poet, because we girls like the damaged poet, But he is, and he was, and people. It comes up a lot saying, oh, because the X-Men, the main team, any one of them could walk down the street, and you wouldn't. Oh,
they could pass.
They could pass.
No problem. The Beast is weird looking.
Yeah.
And yet he's at ease with that. So that was very cool.
Yeah.
So, but then, and as a writer, it's like in the pilot episode, you came up with the idea of a Beast call to action when it's time for them to charge, and instead
of Cowabunga, come up with some obscure line of poetry that nobody's ever heard before, and it's just as a gag. And the writers all liked it, and Marvel liked it, so we kept on cranking them out.
But there was no Google, so we were using Bartlett's quotations, this book we
have in our office, and trying to
outbeast each other if we had them in a script, So
it
was like, I get to be the smartest person in the room if I'm writing Beast, because he is the smartest person in the room.
And for me, it's a lot of people when we go to cons, who's your favorite character? And it's usually Wolverine or Gambit or Rogue or Storm. Those are kind of the really way up there. That usually get voted for. And the guy that I felt closest to, empathized most with, of all the ones was Xavier, because I was in charge over the 5 years. There were 20 different people that wrote for those 76 episodes, including her, and all very different. All these writers with different sensibilities and different ideas about what the show should be, and I was trying to kind of herd them together and keep everything smooth so that it all kind of made sense as one show. And so I felt kind of like the father, like Xavier, trying to keep the X-Men together. All they're bickering and yelling at each other and getting on each other's back all the time. So very much empathized with him.
Okay. And the very unique thing that I liked about the show was that every character was their own individual character.
Yes.
You know how sometimes in cartoons the back characters get lost in the shuffle and they're just generic. A lot of these characters, even if they were on for like 5 minutes, were their own individual people. And I really like that because it shows that even though you could be a part of the team, you still can, stand up and be your own person.
You have, on the writing side of things, an analogy that just kills me. But again, we met at Disney working on Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers and Goof Troop and all those shows. And each character,
great show, by the way, great show.
If you're lucky writing on a show, each character has enough of a distinct voice that no other character could technically say that and make it work.
We really worked hard at that because we absolutely believe firmly that the best shows have these completely different people. I mean, each of the friends is very different, and to get the attention of executives, say on a new show that don't quite understand the need for this, for keeping everybody completely different. It's the Winnie the Pooh Sex and the City issue is what I told them, because every character in Winnie the Pooh is really different. Tigger would never say a line like Piglet would say. Pooh would never say a line like Owl would say. You know them too. They're three-dimensional characters that are completely distinct from each other. The same, I mean, Sex and the City is always, are you a Miranda? Are you a
Samantha?
Yeah. And so there's four completely very different women who are having to be friends. And so I'd always use that with executives to kind of get their attention. Okay, Sex and the City with Winnie the Pooh, great. But that was a big deal when we were deciding who the team was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning, they gave us 4 or 5 that they really wanted in there, including we needed one, Jubilee to be, we needed a young person. We needed Xavier because he's the head of the group, and Wolverine was a done deal. But, Beast was originally written as a secondary character. That's why we put him in jail in episode 2.
Yeah.
And we just thought, well, maybe he'll come in. But he's such a different character. Like Spock is different in. That we kept on all the writers as they're going through their story. So, but Beast would be perfect here. So we kept on writing him in. By the end of the first season, he was
mandatory
lead. So they kind of asserted themselves, and that was one of our proudest things for the show because. A lot of us on the writing side didn't know the books that well. We knew.
Don't tell anyone.
We knew the
secret safe with us.
The issues. We knew the issues involved. We knew what it meant to be a mutant was a big deal, but we didn't know 30 years of canon. We didn't know the stories. So what we were just working our hardest at was to make the characters clear and make each of these. We start with what's an intense rogue story. Well, what if she could give up her mutancy?
She'd be the one who want to because the touching.
That's the intense, racial connection about this. What if I could, stop being a minority? What would I give up my life and my culture and my personhood for that? And she was given that opportunity and she almost took it, and it was a scam. But there's a reason. I mean, if you could never touch anybody.
She's the one to explore that issue with, because if Rogue and Wolverine could swap their powers, Rogue would be thrilled because she would pause unless she needed to, and she could touch somebody.
She could heal, and Wolverine would just go off in the woods somewhere,
and he wouldn't care. But the very thing that each made them so distinct, their own mutation that made them so important to the team, was for each of them. Their deepest sorrow on the inside,
but you're right about you're right about the character distinction. That was job one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny you say that, and you lead in. That literally leads to my next question. Is I read the comics pretty much my whole life, and I was never a big fan of 2 characters. Never a big fan of Gambit or Rogue. But yet when I see the animation, I start to sympathize with both characters. And I sympathize with Rogue in a sense, but more with Gambit. It's the scoundrel turned hero. Kind of like the thief. All of a sudden, you're like, I understand why he did that, but now his skill sets are for good. And that episode that they had when it was concentrated on him, when he went down to the bayou and everything. Is it we all reference it all the time, especially me and my friends. It's a sense of understanding a very mysterious character, and then you really get why he is the way he is. And I think at the end of it, who was it said? I think Jean Grey said it best. Like, there's sides of us we all hide, so people won't know. And but all of a sudden, now you know everything about Gambit for the most part. Like, everything's out there for him playing the side. And I think that's one of my favorite things, that I started to love characters that I never thought I would. Like Gambit and Beast and Rogue. I'm like, I've never been a fan of those. All of a sudden, I'm like, I want more of them all the time.
But the fact that we can have that kind of exploration of a character that truly, Gambit, you don't necessarily know if you can trust him. I mean, he comes through, but he legitimately might not, and that was a different kind of thing for a kid's Saturday morning show.
Yeah, because we get a lot of pressure from various less enlightened folks in our business that just say, children need clarity. You got good guys, you got bad guys. None of this, torture the hero or kind of good some days villain. They need, they need black and white, and they need, and it's so annoying because I don't know where they learned this stuff, or what they, but it may affect toy sales somewhere down the line,
That's always what it's all about, right? Toys. It's always about the toys.
God.
But in terms of writing the stories, you want to have gray areas, and you want to have one of my 2 or 3 favorite things about the whole series is Xavier and Magneto's relationship.
Yes.
The two most powerful adversaries in the whole world, and they're their closest friends. It's a bromance. They're in love with each other.
But they each have a legitimate point of view that
absolutely.
They each are legitimately on opposite sides of the mutant human. How is this going to work together, kind of thing? Which is again a huge
and they got too
discussion.
They got too much integrity to back down.
I often compare them to like a Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Oh yeah,
like that dynamic. Because they're fighting the same wars, just in different ways.
I think it was. I point often to if you guys can remember the opening pilot, the 2-parter Night of the Sentinels.
Yes,
and it opens with the introduction of all the X-Men. But
R.I.P. Morph.
We need to talk about Morph, but okay.
We will, because
the introduction was not, I'm the big, tough mutant. I'm coming down to fight all you good mutants. No, the introduction was a covert government agency has crafted these Sentinels that are there to protect you humans. They're only there to protect the humans. What could possibly go wrong? But then we see the Sentinels going after the mutants. We see what they can do to the mutants. And that by the time you introduce Magneto into the conversation, which happens in episode 3.
There's great sympathy for mutants in general. So you can have sympathy for a quote unquote mutant villain.
Yeah. So
that was a big deal to us because we thought the most important stuff in all the books, because some of the books were just, I'm a massive good guy, I'm a massive bad guy. Let's beat the hell out of each other for 10 pages on an island until the island blows up. It's wonderful when you're 8 years old and it's fun reading, but telling half-hour stories that way, that just kind of gets old. I mean, it's kind of like we talked about. It's like gunfights in westerns. You need them, but the best westerns are about the characters, about them struggling. So we set up the characters first and set up the problem of mutancy in an oppressively majority world that's afraid of them for good reason.
For good reason. And they can do some weird crap.
and doesn't accept them. And had that be the main thrust, and the other stuff came after.
Organically.
Yeah. But we felt that was the most important, because we worked on other stuff that didn't quite have the depth. Like it's fun. It's fun writing those shows. Like we did the first season of Streets.
Okay. See, I thought you were going to disparage something. I am
a little bit.
Oh God.
Hey, careful, guys.
We did the first season of Street Fighter, and to be honest, I don't think we made that quite as deep. you know, and it was, you know, it was a fun show, it was an exciting show. Yeah. It did well, successful. But, you know, looking back on it, I don't think I got to know those characters as well as we got to know the X-Men. And so as a result, I don't know if the audience ever quite got to know them as well. I mean, it could have been done. It's just, there was an Avengers show that we worked on that was kind of a non-Avengers. It was Avengers without like the main.
Without the Avengers.
No Hulk, no, you know, no Iron Man, no Thor.
But the lead was Ant-Man, right?
It had one of my favorite characters, Tigra.
Hawkeye, Ant-Man. Who's the lead?
Yes.
I forget. Hawkeye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Had Hawkeye.
And who's the leader?
And
Scarlet Witch was in there somewhere.
Falcon.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Mr. Wonderful was in there. Or Wonder Man
was in there.
Yeah. But in any case, it wasn't what the fans were expecting. So you know, it's what it is. But okay, well, back to the show that we're saying wonderful things about.
There you go.
Yeah.
But, you know, to that point, it's one of the things that I love most about the X-Men animated series is when you guys were able to breach those topics. So 2 things: Storm, her having claustrophobia,
yes,
and seeing a hero that has something that could be debilitating, but by the end of the episode with the Shadow King, she gets over it and shows you how to build resilience. And then another character like Nightcrawler. I'm not a religious person, but seeing the way he views his relationship with religion, I can understand that, and I feel for him. And it makes it a little more accepting for somebody who's like me who doesn't believe, who in terms where you're like, all right, I can see why there's an appeal to this, as opposed to being against that.
It wasn't a proselytizing conversion episode. It was a discussion about the concepts of faith, which I think is still fascinating that X-Men got to have that conversation on a Saturday morning kids show.
That was hard.
Holy moly.
Just again, shout out to our censor lady.
Oh yes, she
in television, especially kids television, the censor person and it's often a lady has complete veto.
Yeah.
If she said Morph can't get shot, Morph can't get shot. If she said no talking about God, there's no talking about God. End of discussion.
Yeah.
So on these difficult story questions like that, luckily, she really liked the books. We lucked into somebody, a woman, the X-Men books. She wanted us to respect how adult they were. So we come up to something like Nightcrawler, and she said, "Okay, I'll listen. You know, you can't do this gratuitously. There's a bunch of stuff I don't want you to show or talk about. But if you want to do a show about faith, let's do it, and let's do it thoughtfully."
And then see, I want her, who was Margaret Lesch's right-hand person, who gave notes on every script on every series. He kept pushing.
Yeah.
And which I kept like, this can't be happening. We can't be pushing in this direction.
She couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it when I showed her, look, we're doing a Nightcrawler script, and since he's devout Christian, I thought, well, it's got to be about faith, right? It's, oh, are you kidding? On Saturday television, I get that past anybody. And we kept at it for a couple of weeks. And the same thing with Morph. She was nervous about that because heroes and kids shows don't get killed, you know, in the first story. But then she saw that we weren't doing it gratuitously, and it was all about the grief of the remaining family.
The hero's journey, that this means something. There's a stake in this.
The consequences to being an X-Men. So she bought all that. It was wonderful. It was like, you know, 2 weeks of really careful discussion about how to handle this. And then, of course, we come back for the second season, and we had planned him to be dead. He was just supposed to stay dead. That was everyone's intention. And then somebody foolishly asked the fans.
They had a focus group of 7-year-olds.
Can we bring them back?
Said, who's your favorite X-Men in the first season? And Morph won in a landslide.
It's like,
so we get a phone call while we're writing the second season.
You got to bring him back.
No, that guy that you killed, that you spent all that time working to be able to kill, heroic sacrifice. Is there any way you can bring him back, please? I cried and beat my head against the wall, but we said, okay, look, we're professionals. We'll do something intense with him and bring him back, a little PTSD.
And I think those stories turned out remarkable.
Yeah,
the journey of Morph and Wolverine, I think, is a heartbreaking. And
that's what resonated so much with me when it came to Morph. It wasn't necessarily Morph. It was what happened to Wolverine. This is a man that nothing bothers him, and he took Morph's death so hard. I mean, we scream it out here at least every 3 episodes. This one's for you, Morph. We say it all the time. I looked at Wolverine and I said, this guy's untouchable. Nothing phases him besides the whole love triangle with him, Gene. We'll go on that later. But the fact that I saw him so distraught was what kind of got me. Like, you know, I think I was already into Batman, and you know, following the comics, death is kind of normal. Yeah, I get it was on a kid's show, but it was normal, and it wasn't really Morph's death. It was Wolverine, and seeing how bad that got him. It was so hard. Like, wow.
I think that's what happened to the 7-year-olds. They saw everybody react to Morph, because you also wrote him that he had his quick moment with everybody, and they were all laughing, and everyone had a special connection to Morph.
And we want to make him as lovable a friend and a family member as we could, so that when he's killed, it affects them all the most.
Yeah. But,
Oh, please.
Oh, no, just saying how, and again, Avery Coburn understood and said, okay, you can't show it on screen. But if you go back and watch those sequences, it's even more chilling, because we don't see it. We just see their reaction when Jean Grey says, I don't sense him. It's like, this means something.
Yeah.
This means
it's right here.
Yeah.
Every time.
You know,
I watch it the other day, and it was like, hit you right here every time. That's a funny thing is my favorite scenes are usually very little scenes, and when they're done with the missions and they're literally come out the plane, and Wolverine's got some turns to Wolverine, just punches him in the gut. Goes, you know nothing about paying little man. I go, my man, you're 5'3". How is he the little man? You're 5'3". You don't even look to his eyes. Scott is like 6 feet. And
Avery Coburn understood Wolverine's loss and his grief, and that is the only time in the entire series.
In 76 episodes, any one of our team punches another one.
That's the only time.
She let us do it because she understood it was about his grief.
And that he wasn't using his claws.
That's the thing. That's the kicker. No claws. That's why Scott was so
next time I use the oh my god.
That dynamic of the jokester. And by the way, that one scene where he's sitting down watching TV and he keeps morphing into people. That's what I would do with that power. That's what I would do. I would literally do that. I would sit there, sit the channel. You know, when he puts it ironically to Senator Kelly. You know, that's a fun little throw in there tying. And I'm like, I would do that. But right away, you're like, I like this guy already. 2 seconds in, I would do the exact same thing.
And you know, it's funny to the point where you said, Gene, I don't sense him. Ever since that, to me, it is more impactful when they don't show anything and you realize that a character is like, oh, wait, something's wrong. That has always gotten me since then. Just those 2 simple words. It's amazing how effective the emotionality came through, even for little kids. And it's funny because as hearing the backstage, you know, they allowed us to do this, and they, you know, having to struggle to get certain things out. Coming from the other side of the TV, watching it, I always felt like, oh, they trust us to watch this, and to, if we don't understand, to learn and to grow, and they're not just spoon feeding us. That's why I always find that this show was vastly different and ahead of any other show.
Thank you for that. It means so much to hear that, because that's what we were hoping for that. But you know, again, the fact that it did happen, and you were there on the other, you were there and you got it.
There were like six or seven of us that were in the middle of the creative decisions, and every one of us had been in this business for, you say, 10 years, had been frustrated by how dumbed down a lot of the stuff we were all forced to work on. And we just kept looking at each other and said, that's not what I remember. I remember when I was 7, I wanted to be challenged. I wanted, if the 12-year-old guy next to me was loving a movie or something, I even if I half didn't understand it, I wanted to watch that and be challenged by it, try to figure it out, rather than to watch something that's for little kids.
No.
every person on the team remembered wanting to be challenged as a kid. So we never, I don't remember cutting something back because, kids aren't going to get this.
No, I can't. I don't think so.
We try to keep stuff clear, and they were worried. The people were worried. He said, well, continuing stories, kids are going to be off running around. They're not going to remember. And then that's when our editor said, well, I could do this previous on the X-Men thing.
Yes.
45 seconds at the beginning and catch everybody up to where they need to be caught up to, so that if there's some continuing elements in the story, they'll
just put this here.
Yeah. So that was important. But as far as writing the stories, we were writing for ourselves. I'd remembered hearing the cartoons that Warner Brothers made like in the 40s.
Oh my God.
30s, 40s, 50s. They were really intense, and some of them very adult and hilarious.
Yeah.
Those guys, they were off on a corner Warner Brothers lot, and they were writing that stuff for themselves.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
And Rocky and Bullwinkle. There's a certain number of cartoons that if you were 7, you didn't get half of it.
No.
But they made it so fast paced and so much fun. It didn't matter. You sensed what was going on, and that was enough.
And as I got older, again, I went Rocky and Bullwinkle. I mean, just as I got older, it's like, oh my God, this is even more genius than I understood as a kid, because now I'm understanding. But it didn't bother me that I didn't catch it the first time around. There was still stuff there to keep me amused. Yeah. Oh, I just wanted a quick note about the voice of Morph, Ron Rubin, who we want to give a shout out to.
He's more manic and crazy than that character.
That pilot episode being read as Canadian actors are being told, "Hey, we got a new show, 13 episodes,"
and they all know each other. They all come in for this thing. Oh yeah, it's a 2-part pilot episode. They're going to be 13. We're all going to get 13 paychecks. Yeah. And Morph looks down and says, "I die." Wait a minute, that's from episode 2. I no, wait, this can't be right.
Can't be right.
And he ran up to the voice director and said, "This, they don't mean this, do they?" He said, "Sorry." Yeah.
To his credit, Ron came back when Morph got revived. But again, just so to set the record straight, Morph was really supposed to stay dead, and we mean that. We were there. I just want you to know. But coming back as damaged, and then the struggle with Wolverine, I think added so much richness to that universe.
And you don't have to tell us as comic book fans. We know death is never permanent. I was in the room at Comic-Con when Joe Quesada said Wolverine will stay dead, and then 6 months later he came back.
He's back.
Yeah. But the cool part about Wolverine's struggle and Morph finding his way when he came back was the fact that you also showed us that it's okay to go through things. Like Wolverine was going through his grief the way he could, and it's like it's okay to go through it. And Morph, it's like sometimes when you lose your way, you have to go find yourself. You're not just gonna snap back into who you were before. So it shows that, and I appreciate that, because I went through certain struggles like that also. And to see someone go through it kind of makes the path a little easier. So that makes it enjoyable to watch, and it's something memorable.
And although it was in a different form or format, I guess it was easier to digest. I completely agree with you, Toe. It was easier to digest that kind of stuff as a kid, and maybe it was a rough topic, sure, and maybe we see some of our favorite heroes going through stuff that maybe we saw our parents go through, or maybe our older brothers or cousins. And the fact that it was in a cartoon, it's like, okay, I kind of get this too, and it did just make things okay. And I mean, what a crazy time slot to put this cartoon, right? It's like we all have our bowl of cereals. Mom and Dad are right there, and we're just looking back like, is it cool if I watch this? You guys are okay. It was. I completely understand it, and although when you look back, some of these rougher topics, they really weren't, I wouldn't say rough, but real. And it was refreshing to see that. Yeah.
Yes.
We were amazed as we were starting to get ratings came in once a week, as I recall, and there were various analytics, and it eventually would filter down to us at our home office. But whatever magic reasons, it was hitting the target demographic, which was the younger younger
like
kids.
6 to 12-year-old boys kind of was the
It was
initial,
hitting the younger demographic.
but it's hitting the girls too.
It was
hitting
yeah,
every.
it was,
Oh,
and
it was
that, yeah.
everybody.
And college students were watching it in their dorms and in the common room, and parents were watching it with their kids and grandparents. It's like, whoa, wait a second, yeah.
And they never, when we have discussions about other shows which are a lot more narrowly written, we try to say, look, there's no reason like you have to write this for a 3-year age gap, 8 to 11.
Right, which can be how shows are targeted.
A lot of times they say, oh, no, our advertisers like this because they know that they can sell, whatever, clothes or cereal or whatever. Yeah. But if you have a huge audience and it's everybody, how do we figure out what to sell on your show?
Yeah.
So we get that pushback sometimes, like make it narrow and say, there's no reason. There's no reason to. Little kids are going to like this if you make it fun enough, you make it fast paced enough.
If you make it bright enough,
and make it real enough, they'll get it. We always had the reference point was somebody brought up, well, what do you have all these adult romance tensions and dramas in this thing for? What 8-year-old's going to understand having his heart broken by the girl being, and so every little kid has friends and breaks up his favorite friends, loses friends, or gets,
daily.
maybe feels like he's betrayed a friend.
Oh yeah.
And so just because these are 25-year-olds on the screen that are doing one of the little kids are, their emotion is the same. The kid's going to get the emotion of Gene and Scott and Wolverine triangle, even if they don't know what a love triangle is.
And they'll get Gambit and Rogue.
You're in it for each other, unable to get together, and they'll say, well, there's this person I always wanted to be with, but we could never get together. So you want to shape some of these people that don't say, kids get stuff.
They get stuff. We say it all the time.
More than you can ever imagine. So that's one thing I actually love about the series. Like there's every character, there's something I can take from them and relate to. Beast, I've always liked poetry here and there, you know what I mean? And he says he says a quote and I'm like, I've read that. So I can relate to him.
I love that.
When you have Logan, a huge loner, and probably one of the most violent people you ever met, and I've taken martial arts, so I'm ready every day. And then you have somebody like Gambit, who is who you don't know much about. A lot of people don't much because sometimes I used to hold things in. I should just keep it to myself, But on the outside, I'm showing this very positive, happy person sometimes. You never know. You know what I'm saying? He was a real ladies' man. I can never relate to Cyclops for many reasons. That's other thing. Magneto. I understand Magneto protecting your people at all costs. I'm protecting mine. What's mine, I'll do by enemies necessary, to your Malcolm X thing, by enemies necessary, I'll protect my people. So there's always I don't know, how do I say it? It's always like rogue
influence.
You want to be part of everything of this group but you feel you don't fit in no matter what you do. And the thing I loved about her too is she was so powerful. She was stronger than anybody else on the team. And she sits on top of it strength-wise. And then there's Storm, who is literally a goddess. And you're like, the two most powerful people besides Xavier are women. So think about, you're like sitting there like, wow. Yeah, you can really appreciate every character for their worth. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Yeah.
No, but you also brought up the gender issue back in 1992, and here we are here. And it didn't emasculate any of the male characters because you had female characters. It was just everybody had an equal shot at being the best character he or she could be. Yeah. And it was never an issue. It was never an issue ever in the show.
Yeah, because we tried to sell and develop other shows or working up other series. There was you can imagine, you get these notes or these people tell you, look, it's boys action adventure. Give us 6 Smurfs and a Smurfette.
That one always scared me.
Don't just stop while we're and we just we didn't plan on it being 50-50 women and men in the show. I mean, it ended up being 50-50. We just picked the most intense
and different
ones we could pick. It ended up being 4 and 4, and so
Marvel gave that existed.
But
that
Marvel was cool with that,
yeah.
and we didn't get some. Luckily, I think when we started out, there wasn't a toy deal in place, so we didn't get some colleagues saying, "Oh, you don't understand. The female action figures sell 20% less than the males do, so get rid of get rid of Storm and Rogue." We didn't get that note.
Thank God.
Which we've had on other shows.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this has ever come up when people are speaking with you. The character Jubilee, when she first came on the scene, watching it, I was a little iffy on her, just being my own, sensibilities. And then watching Wolverine take to her and take her under her wing kind of gave a sense of, oh, okay. So we can if you see somebody like in school or somebody in your neighborhood that you don't think you might vibe with, there's a way to connect. There's a way to bring them in. You don't have to keep them isolated. If somebody doesn't seem like they fit in the group, but you think they might come in, it's okay to bring them in. Has that ever come up when people have talked to you? Because that's the one thing I've noticed and that I've actually applied, because I used to be a former Navy. So in boot camp and when I was out on my ship, I've applied that to bring more people into the group and be more, encompassing.
It's funny, we haven't heard her said quite that way, but if you point it out, she is the one that's the most different from everybody because she's she's 13.
Yeah.
And we used her at the beginning as this wide-eyed, I don't know what this world's about, is kind of for the audience to identify with as she discovers the X-Men's world as you do. But then after that, she's still there the next day. Okay, what is her character? What's she growing and going through? And you're right, having them accept her, even though she was so different from the rest, are basically all 25 to 30, except for Wolverine and Xavier, who were both ancient.
And they thought they almost lost her too, and it was like this crazy mission to like get her back. So that was intense. So and it showed everyone like, hey, everyone gets a fair share here. Like we grieve for everyone the same. We will go through anything we need to do for anyone to get them back and make them feel safe. It did have this weird dynamic. I know exactly what Cap is talking about, where it's like you finish watching the X-Men and you go to school and like you kind of make your own little ragtag like team of misfits, and it's like, okay, you don't fit in, I don't fit in. Dude, we're the X-Men. Let's just make this happen. And then everyone is kind of like, they find their own way in their own little group. I think that was one of the best things that happened with X-Men. Everyone just understood that, hey, we all got a fair shot here. And obviously, I don't know if that was the direction or what you guys wanted, but it just serendipitously kind of happened that way.
Oh, yeah.
I think the idea of found family was so important to the show without hitting it with a stick. Everyone here, every one of the X-Men who found their way into the X Mansion, is coming from their own personal traumas, and in that they find each other, I think is what I'm trying to say. And were they
voluntarily, and 3 or 4 of them leave. Wolverine leaves 3 or 4 times. Storm leaves to go off to get married with the wrong guy. That was a funny story discussion with the writers. They got an idea. I don't know how to play this out, but let's do it. It's like this woman has just found the worst boyfriend, and nobody's going to tell her. So it's okay. She just finds out that she's engaged to Hitler.
Oh, Jesus!
And what do? She's not going to listen.
But, those kinds of those personal moments. Again, we have a lot of stuff blowing up, but really it comes down to what's going on for each character,
humanizing them.
Yeah, and Cap, you mentioned Wolverine and Jubilee have sort of developing a special relationship. In the opening 2-parter, when she's in the mansion freaking out and somehow the danger room she that's the only time I think I've ever seen her. She takes out Wolverine.
She zaps him,
and he goes
flying. Everybody laughs at him because the little girl just zapped the big tough guy.
Yeah.
And she panicked, but
she feels bad, and Wolverine's a little growly. But that
moment.
Oh yeah, it was having great.
and then she and Gambit had a special relationship that
Yes.
Yeah, in the very
attended-
beginning, actually, so the first X-Men she actually met was Gambit.
Right.
Right.
In the store,
Right,
and he's like sitting on that girl with the cards. All of a sudden, he's like, and he saved her from the Sentinel. He was like, "Oh man, you got to pick up somebody your size. It's not me." But
with style,
absolutely.
style.
So one thing, right? So, okay, it's the 90s. It's the Wild West of kids' cartoons, and some things are starting to get better. And you know, we've heard all the rumors, we've watched all of the YouTube videos. You know, there was a lot of obstacles to get this going. Some people have deemed this show the show that was never supposed to work. Like a lot of people have said that. So what were some of the biggest obstacles that you guys faced?
How much time have you guys got?
That's why I asked.
We're here all night.
Yes, we got another.
As long as you want to be on.
As long as you want to be on.
We're talking about comic books and cartoons all day.
Yes.
All day.
I think the biggest parts came during the 7 months while we were trying to write it and draw it
at the table.
And make this world of these 13.5-hour stories without anybody having seen it, because we all believe it's like you have to have faith with what you're seeing in your mind. Don't know what, and there were moments like we got the first recording back from Canada. We all just died inside because we tried to tell them.
Yeah,
they're wonderful people up there, very professional. They the guy
Audio
that
cassettes.
the guy that was directing the voices had directed Beetlejuice for us for a year. For Fox, and so the guy is sharp.
And Canada's got a very talented pool of voice talent. And by the way, it was because of money. It was cheaper to find voice talent.
But so no matter how much we wrote it down in our notes and put it in the scripts, they just couldn't quite believe that we wanted a serious adult show. So what we got back, and again, there's no internet, so we have to wait for the snail mail of the audio cassette. So we're listening to
the Wild West.
Yeah, we're the first the pilot, the 2-part pilot, and it's horrible. It's Scooby-Doo X-Men. It's just it's talented people, but being silly little versions of our characters.
Because that's how the animation
for
universe,
30 years, that's what they've been doing. That's been the standard, and that's what people wanted to hear, and that's where they made their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so that's what they get. So we put the brakes on, sent a couple people, the producer director, a couple producers from here, and the executive up to Canada, a couple people from Marvel. So about half a dozen of us that all understood what we were trying to do, and sat with them for 2 weeks and said, look, we recast this, you guys, we understand why you did it the way you did it, but it's wrong. Go more intense. And they went to the theaters. They went to get Shakespearean actors from Toronto. They got all these intense, dramatic voices. And actually, I think our feeling is that if they done a kind of okay job the first time, we would have had to put up with it, because this recasting costs money. But we recast it, and they went overboard, making everybody intense and dramatic, and that was perfect. In fact, they went overboard to make up for the first miss. Actually, seemed to really help the show. But that was one moment. Okay, the voices. We wrote 80 pages, and this 400 lines of dialogue, and 388 of them are so wrong, I don't know where to start.
And that's before even animation has begun.
We've got the storyboards drawn, and which looked great, by the way. The storyboards look great, so the artists were getting it, and the writers were getting it, and then the music guy got it finally.
I saw a name come up there. Someone was asking about the awesome theme song.
Yeah. That was
all the flowers too, because the way the world works, the guy who wrote that theme song was on salary at Saban Entertainment, so he was getting his weekly paycheck. He wrote
the Power Rangers theme too.
You know that.
You know that. He wrote both of those and never got a penny over whatever he was making an hour while he was working.
Yeah, but his name is Ron Wasserman. That guy deserves
So however many
credit.
billions of dollars,
Yeah,
those two opening sites have made for somebody, they haven't made them for Ron.
Hey, but if you saw Doctor Strange or if you watched the new Ms. Marvel series,
Oh yes.
you have to hear like 5 notes, and you automatically and just here we are again.
Oh no, that's instantly recognizable. It doesn't take much. You hear a little riff, you go, I know that.
Ron Wasserman.
You go to DiCaprio, I know that.
There it is. We don't get tired of it over here.
I got it.
We don't get tired of it here.
Oh yeah.
Now, that's on the flip side of what Cap says. There was difficulties to it naturally. You know what I mean? It's a new network. It's in the property that nobody knows. Now, what actually was the fun part about doing everything? The creative process, the casting. How did all of it come together and you guys just had a great time doing it?
You know, it was one of the few times when you often say lightning in a bottle, just because Fox Kids was willing to take the chance. Marvel Comics X-Men universe was 30 years deep already in a comic book form. So there was a rich well that was there to be drawn upon. The artists who came on board, they knew the show chapter and verse. Every cameo you saw, and you saw them. You know those cameos in the background. Larry Houston, we'll get to that in a moment. But so there were people everywhere who either everyone was committed to doing what they could do with what they knew, what they had, what they were able to do. And as writers, it was just a sandbox for us to play in, because this was the first time any of us had been allowed to write these kinds of stories.
There were like 3 for me, being from like day 1 in February till we finally saw the first episode sneak previewed on October 31st.
Halloween 1992.
During all that time, in my head, in the writing of the first, in working with the writers, there were 5 or 6 people worked that first season. Mark Eden probably wrote 4 of them. He and his brother Michael were buddies of mine from college. So we were having a great time. It's like we were getting to do the action show we wanted to do, that we'd always wanted to do, since we all were friends programming, peck and paw movies in college. So we were doing that in terms of writing the scripts and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Hoping that it would turn out to be something kind of like we were seeing in our heads. So that was exciting and playful. I mean, we're obviously fighting to keep things from being changed, because a lot of times it's going pretty well, and then somebody will throw a curve and say, no, the advertiser wants to change half the characters, or whatever it is. And in previous shows, all of us working on those shows had kind of, well, maybe you know better, it's your money or whatever. In this case, everybody just said, hell no. 3 or 4 people, including Will Mignot, who was like the head supervisor, who held the whole thing together, supervising designer. There was a time when we got a phone call saying, you need to put the Happy Meals toys from Australia in the show. And they're like Storm on a tricycle.
Here you go, folks.
These are
the Australian Happy Meals toys, which are cool looking. Hang on. Oh, there we go. All right, let me set this up for you.
Wait a minute. I've never seen that.
No, you won't. These are only in Australia. So there you go.
In the show.
So we got the phone call in the middle of writing and drawing this, saying,
whoa, you got to help me here.
Saying,
there's Cyclops. Oh, there we are. Okay, there's Magneto.
There's Magneto.
And a tricycle.
Magneto and a tricycle.
Magneto.
And here's Storm in her tricycle.
Right.
Oh
well,
my God.
Magneto and Storm can fly. They can levitate. They don't need a tricycle.
Yeah.
But we literally got the phone call from Will saying, we just hit a real bump in the road here. The people,
the folks in Australia, McDonald's in Australia,
say that they've got to deal with Marvel, that we're going to put this stuff in every episode. And if we don't do it, we're all going to get fired.
Wow.
And there was about a week there that we're fighting this.
And this is 1992.
And we went to the head of production at Graz, and they backed us. We went to Margaret Lesh, and she backed us. And we had to go, and somebody had to pay them back for whatever they paid to put these toys in.
Put the toys out. Wow.
Somebody had to pay them back because otherwise,
they are kind of cool though.
They're so cool.
The show you would have watched would have been very different. There was another time that the show almost ground to a halt. They designed the whole thing to wait. Well, and this is another. We get product placement requests.
That walkie.
That is walkie.
Walkie.
Yeah.
Talking to Wolverine face and a walkie-talkie of his head.
It's very tactical.
It's
funny. I think that would have fit better with Jean Grey.
But there was a time, the design of the show looks a lot like Jim Lee.
Yes,
and
Jim
we
Lee.
started with him.
Yeah.
And we looked at 20 different people, and the designers all said, "Look, Jim's got the simplest, cleanest look. It'll work best for animation. Let's start with him and then make it our own." And so we're all going along. The entire world had been designed, all the characters. We'd written half the scripts, and we get a phone call from Marvel saying, "You're going to have to change that. You have to redesign everything."
What?
And we're like 2 months in. Huh? We're already like a month behind because we don't have a schedule. And says you have to change everything. We can't. We don't want it to look like Jim Lee anymore.
What? Why?
Why?
Well, we had no idea. We had all agreed. All the people had agreed that this is the best look. What has changed? So, to his credit, without warning anyone, without warning Stan Lee, without warning anybody about what he was doing, Will Mineo, the head designer, said, "Okay, you want something different?" And he designed a character sheet with all of them looking like really cheesy Hanna-Barbera 1964 characters with big Scooby eyes and things. Yeah. And sent that in on a Friday saying, "Okay, here's a new design. Let me know what you'd like me to do with it." And everybody lost their mind saying, "Oh God, this is so awful. Did they really think this is right?" He hadn't warned the other artists. He hadn't warned anybody. So it would have the biggest impact. And the point got across. So this is crazy. This is crazy to change something that's right now. And we found out later it's because Jim Lee and 3 or 4 other artists had had just left to create Image Comics. And so as on most businesses, Marvel at the time didn't want to celebrate somebody that just left them.
But we didn't know.
We didn't know that. We didn't know that's why they wanted us to turn our show upside down and make the designs wrong. But that was another one of those weekends where we didn't know if on Monday, we were going to have to start all over.
There were no cell phones. We had to go to the drugstore to fax things to New York. 3-hour time difference. Telling you communication was very different back then.
Long 3-page faxes to each other.
Oh, and I want to point out we've talked about Batman at the same time here, but just so you guys understand the time compression that you were operating under, you got a call. You've been placed on hold to story edit a show for Fox Kids, and there was a meeting coming up in February '92. Oh, that's great! You get yay, employment. Typically on a show, you like to have, in a perfect world, you get a year to develop a show, and that includes designing your characters, coming up with the universe, coming up with the look of it. You got a call in February. Mm-hmm. You went in and you were told, "Oh, that show we told you you're not doing that. You're doing X-Men." This is February '92, and we need to have it on the air in September of '92.
Wow,
that's 7 months to create, craft, develop, audio design, everything. Wow. Whereas Batman was already
they'd been working on it for a year, so we were always kind of, they had all this money and time.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know.
But the good side of it was because, as I say, most of our artists had worked on helping develop the Batman show in one way or another. A bunch of them had, so they understood how beautiful it was going to look. Mm-hmm. And so instead of scaring them, which would have been kind of a natural human thing, they said, "Look, we got half the budget. The animation is not going to look as beautiful. What we're going to do instead is cut it twice as fast." And literally, our animation production, our design production people that we worked with had it in their mind, and we helped because we just jammed the stories with twice as much stuff as usual. They just had it going boom, 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 so that you didn't have time to look and say, well, your animation's a little creaky.
It was.
Sometimes better than others, sometimes sharper than others, but we didn't have the time to fix anything. We didn't have the budget to make it beautiful in the first place. So they said, okay, make up for it. For like Batman, you want to linger on how beautiful it looks.
The images are just.
And the same guy, Sydney, who was our immediate boss, gave us all our notes. Crazy man. He ran both shows. He ran all their best shows, and he said Batman is cool jazz, X-Men is a garage band.
And I've always loved that.
Yeah,
I love that. I get that.
We wrote to that. We had everything overlapping and never pausing and never stopping.
And Larry Houston will tell you, you never see him walking because walking is expensive. You cut right to the jet. Boom, boom. Yeah. But today, 30 years later, it still feels, like it moves along.
Yeah. So it helped us with the pace and the people. Speaking of X-Men '97.
Oh, are we? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
And the people.
Are we?
People doing X-Men '97 who are wonderful people, by the way, and they're like 100 of them, and they've got and they're all big fans of the show. But they said one of the things they wanted to make sure, they wanted to have that pace. That the pace was part of what they loved about the show, and so it's.
Okay, he brought it up. We'll get it out there. Disney Plus, Marvel Animation, to our astonishment and delight, have announced they are coming up with X-Men '97, which is officially coming out next year sometime.
Next fall.
That's all.
That's as much as they'll tell us.
Yeah, but we are honored, along with Larry Houston. They've tapped us, the three of us, to come on board as consulting producers. So we've been able. I'm not going to say anymore, but we really love the people who are doing this. We love what they're doing with it, and it is a continuation. If you watch X-Men now and watch all 5 seasons, including the last season where the animation is, oh dear God, but the stories are solid. But you get through that. The new show will pick up.
Saban trying to cut costs.
Yeah.
So you'll start watching it again now. So it'll be all set.
Okay, wait. So I know we can't talk about it, and obviously I won't pry, but I did have a question that I guess links into 97. So is there anything, I know that you guys wanted another season after it ended, but because of what you just mentioned, the animation and trying to cut costs and all of that, unfortunately you didn't get that. Is there anything that you guys didn't get to explore, and maybe would anybody be exploring it in 97?
Let me kind of go back and
sure.
Just we don't know what to tell you about X-Men '97 beyond that it was going to be a continuation. But Eric was genuinely committed to wrapping up the series at the end of season 4, which was the operatic 4-parter Beyond Good and Evil, which you got your time travel. You and Mark Heddens wrote that. It was going to end.
4 half-hour story, so it's 160 pages, and it was all set up to have 5 of the X-Men leave the team, including Scott and Jean and Xavier and Storm,
right?
And have Bishop and Shard and Psylocke, and Arcade come in. That's why all 4 of them are in all the episodes, and have them become the new. So at the end of the series, it was goodbye to 5 old X-Men, hello to 4 new ones,
and that was
going to be this cool little twist at the end. Well, then you got the note saying, "Oops, they've ordered 6 more."
They didn't order a whole series more, season more. They ordered 6.
Oh, 6 more. So you can't get rid of 5, and you can't add 4 new people on. So rewrite your whole, rewrite the script so that nobody leaves and nobody new comes on. But it still was a fun big.
Is there anything that within those 4 seasons you didn't get to explore that maybe you wanted to, something that maybe you left behind that you couldn't put out there?
Oh, the interesting thing, the challenge, I think, and you guys have alluded to it, is the size of the team of the X-Men themselves. Unlike, say, Batman, trying to service 8 plus Xavier. There were 9 legitimate members of this team,
and all the guest characters.
You know, would it have been fun to spend more time with Nightcrawler? Sure. You know, would Bishop? Oh my God, I love Bishop. You know,
or another Iceman episode,
or just you know, more Jean Grey stuff. I mean, there was so much each character that could have been explored, but there was just time.
And to be honest, from the point of view of the guy that's responsible for coming up with the new stories and getting everybody to check off on them, I just was relieved that we could stop at 76. You don't need 10 more for me now, do you? So yeah, I think we did pretty much all that we were hoping.
I got a question. You guys have a very illustrious writing career. I mean, up and down. I mean, coming from a guy that's seen most of it, not all of it, right? So Bionic 6. Something that I always relate to X-Men in a sense.
Okay.
Like in a sense, like if you see the way it's done, it's a family adopted of different creeds, nationality, whatever you say, and all of a sudden now they're a family. I did not mean to go into the theme song. That got weird. They're family now, right? So that happens, and then you all of a sudden you come up and you write the X-Men.
Yeah.
Do you see parallels between Bionic 6 and the X-Men as you have written both, Eric?
Bionic 6 was about 5 years earlier.
Oh yeah, just 5 years. Okay.
Well, I'm
you realize I met you. Well, no, but when I met you, it was already
just 5 years. Yeah, there was this cool company called TMS. This is a Japanese company, and they were a really nice animation house. They did the physical animation for the Disney shows, Disney Afternoon, the best. That was like their #1 studio overseas, and they had a little tiny office in LA of 4 or 5 people. And Bionic 6, the people were there. Actually, it's the reason I was able to do X-Men is because I was hired there in 1986, and Sidney Iwander, who was our boss at Fox, and who recommended me to be in charge of the X-Men. He was their entire development staff was this one executive, and he hired me to do the grunt work. So for 9 months, I came up with new shows and new shows and new shows and new shows. And I actually had my friend Mark Edens come out from Tennessee and help me because it just, I was so excited to get a small salary. I didn't mind sharing with somebody. So for 9 months, I come up with new shows with Sidney, and we sold one. It was called Galaxy High School.
I remember. Yes, I remember.
John Chris Belushi, who's a wonderful artist. It sold to CBS. So I was there 9 months. We sold one show, and as I was finishing up and leaving, they got this contract to do the Bionic 6, and they had a little bit of production. They were kind of new to it. They didn't really have good production people, set up. So they were kind of feeling their way to figure out how to actually produce their first show in America here. And I did an episode for the folks that they hired to run the show, but it was as I was taking off to go back to Hanna-Barbera for a while and then hop to Disney. It was right in that area when I was about to spend 3 years at Disney. So being at TMS where Bionic 6 happened, and I got to be part of it. But the big thing for me at TMS was getting this relationship with this guy, Sidney, and working with him day in and day out for 9 months, so that when push came to shove in 1992 and Margaret looks at it and says, who's the best guy to run X-Men? And he said, well, I think Eric, because I'd had this year with this guy. So, you do your best work, and it's 6 years later, but he remembers. And so that's how, that got me the job.
Wow. And you guys did a very cool little gym you did that I absolutely loved. I used to wake up to go to high school to watch was Mummies Alive. I used to.
Oh my God.
I love Mummies Alive so much. I was telling you so early. I was like, Mummies Alive was one of those shows. Like, besides all of your work, your work's fantastic. Like I said, I was up and down the line. It's amazing. But Mummies Alive, I don't know what it was about it. I think it was the teen aspect. Everybody was so different. But then it came together. But it was just like that moment. I was like, that's a great show. Like a gem of a show,
We need to get together with the obscenely young fella named Seth Kearsley, who was the artist, designer, director on that. I think he was in his like 24, insanely young.
I was approaching 40 by then, late 30s, and she was in her mid 30s, and Seth was 23.
The designer, the art designer,
and this guy, it looked good.
Yeah,
it was not. It was a smaller budget show, and it looked good.
Yeah.
This guy just killed himself. He designed everything. He did a lot of the storyboards, and he just made it look sharp. Yeah. And we thought we did some pretty good work on that one. We're pretty proud of that one. And then people come up and tell us that they really enjoyed it. So that was one of those good situations. We're working for this smaller company called Deke that did Madeline and So they weren't used to doing a big action show, but they'd seen that X-Men had made a ton of money. So they said, okay, well, we'll try. and so the nice thing about Deke is the people in charge are like salesmen. They're just trying to make a sale. As soon as they got a sale, they're on to the next sale, and they don't micromanage you when you're doing a show. So the people in charge had no idea what we were writing, as long as the scripts are coming in once a week. Right. That's cool. So we were kind of left to our own devices pretty much on that. We got a little bit of the people putting the money up were a little freaked out because we wanted to make it even older. We wanted to make it more adult, and they said, "Come on." All of the people putting money in have little kids that they're trying to sell stuff to. Can you be a little less intense? So that one, we had that fight over, and it's a little softer or a little sweeter than it would have been if we'd had, complete control. But we had great fun on that show.
Yeah, I'm glad you remember that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
When you see the episodes, you can tell like there's joy in it. Like the show itself is just fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear that.
A lot of fun in it. There's some lessons, but it's like from the characters to the villain to the whole episodes, the ways we set up. You're like, this is a fun show, and there's like it's always great to wake up to something before you go to school and go, yo, that was fun. Now I got to go to school. But also in it, each character also had their own personality, like you do so well with the X-Men. You kind of brought them out so well. You had the leader, you had the big guy that was missing the arm that it came through when he changed. You had the Snake, which usually snakes are preserved for somebody that's not trustworthy, but meanwhile he's literally the smartest guy in the crew. Yeah. And then the lady in the crew was literally efficient in everything she did. So I appreciated the intricateness of all the characters coming together. I loved it because I would just sit there and go, I should be so interested in this in the morning before I go to school. Because I still want to watch another episode, but I'm going to be late though. I got to go.
You're going to be late.
We did our darndest to also be, as because the Egyptian mythos, we were trying to be as legitimate as we could be with that one. I had a lot of fun with it, but that also there was some pushback. Kids aren't going to understand the language.
The big Egyptian words, and we wanted to just grab those people and say, "Have you seen Star Wars?" Lots of big, strange, silly words in Star Wars. Every 6-year-old boy in America has got that entire world memorized. Yeah. They know the names of every one of those weird ass characters. Kids are smart.
It goes back to Cap's original point: is you never insulted us. You gave us opportunity to interpret everything. And the same thing when it was alive. There was a moment of you can interpret it. The same thing with the other cartoons, whatever all the series you did is like I was able to interpret things through it. You know what I mean? Even back in the 80s when it was simplified, as you guys would put it, some things you can literally go, all right, I can figure that out. Like I have some intelligence, I guess.
One of the shows, when Eric mentioned that after the first 13 episodes, we were all of us released because they didn't think it was going to hit and they didn't want to pay for anything. You and Mark and Michael Edens ended up on a new job for a show
called Exo Squad, which we did, which is
he knows them all.
Which started off. There's a great guy at Universal that let us do it. It started off even more intense than X-Men in that in the opening story, these aliens invade Earth, and destroy the entire Congress.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
It's a big deal.
They blast. We never got in trouble for that.
Yeah, my God.
It's basically like a World War II story. It's
Yeah.
going to be 65 episodes, and it starts off with the aliens coming in and taking and attacking Earth, and they've got their base on Mars, and they've taken over Venus, and so there's all these space battles, big space armada, big space battles, and gradually the good guys take the planets back, and it was all connected. And Mark and Michael, I only did it for the first 13, but they went through 52 episodes. It was still all connected, and then Universal just stopped. You had the last 13 episodes.
That was common.
Played out,
Yeah.
and they said, "I think we're gonna stop this one."
The last 13 episodes are still in Mark Eden's file cabinet. I'm just saying they exist.
Hey,
You know,
the hashtag
always
something
somebody
right there.
with money.
Release those episodes, brother. Come on now. I'm even hashtag and I'm with it.
That was always that was a bit too common back in the day when things just like stopped. It's just goodbye.
Yeah.
It's funny. At least once or twice, like every 6 months, me and one of my friends, we always bring up that series because he has the DVDs. We always like, yo, whatever happened to that show? It was one of our favorite shows that watched grow as a kid. I had all the action figures.
Yes. No, and
Great toys.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Great
I'm not going to tear that apart, but yeah.
Alec DeLeon, the character, was named after our second son.
Oh, nice.
It's funny. The one series that Eric was part of was Sky Commandos.
Oh yeah.
And I had the toys. And I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
The ones that
toy
slide down the string.
to drive your parents crazy. It was Sky Commandos. Because you're like, it literally is a suction cup one end of the room to the other end, and it's just wires. And then you come into the room and there's 8 wires coming around. You're like, dinner. And your mom's looking at you like, what are you doing right now? What is this? I go, you bought this for Christmas. This is Sky Commandos. This is what's happening right now.
Every parent in America hated
a cool cartoon, but a complicated toy.
Too complicated.
Yeah, every parent in America hated Kenner for coming up with that stuff. and we kind of looked them in the face and said, so we're supposed to come up with exciting action things that take place on, say, other planets and whatever, where the people need to slide down cables to fight. Because that's what the play is. You know, we give them some.
For some reason, they're always in the Himalayas of another planet. The Himalayas.
Yeah. So well, whatever. But you know, it's your dime. We'll try to make it exciting.
Yeah, it's actually a custom. When I went to Pluto, we were sliding down cables. They had it rigged up already.
I had a massive backpack that allowed me to slide down to where I was. Yeah. No, I mean the literal heart. I mean the headaches my mom got. She tried to see 8 wires coming across. It's green, red, blue, orange. She's like, "Why?" I go, "Well, this is my Christmas present." To it. Like, that's what it was. That's what I asked for. Blame the cartoons, and I'm like, nah, it was fun.
Are there any maybe like a property that maybe you wanted to work with, or maybe some other heroes that you wanted to write for that you never got to, something that you've always kind of wanted to do?
Let me just say, given how things worked out timing wise, I would have loved to have had the opportunity to have written for Batman the Animated Series. That's the gold standard. And we've had there are folks who wrote on X-Men who also wrote on Batman, and I've always been just a little jealous about that. But you asked about that would have been the gold standard to have had the chance to write for them. Nowadays, okay, I'm going to say it, Rick and Morty. Oh my God.
It's okay.
we know a couple people that and we stand back in awe.
Oh,
those guys'
God.
minds work so fast.
Yeah.
And are never ending. I think it was
but they are
Dan
X-Men. Jeff Loveness, but they are X-Men fans, and I love seeing the Easter eggs that pop up on
lots
show,
of X-Men Easter eggs in that show. So that's we're prejudiced, but yeah, that's of the current stuff. I mean, it's all over the place. There's so much stuff.
Oh my God!
We can't keep track of. People ask us, you keep track of the X-Men books? I said, we can't keep track of TV shows. There's so much stuff everywhere, much less the books.
One thing that back in the 90s, when we get the ratings, the 4 major networks and your local syndicated channels.
Yeah.
But there were Saturday mornings when every TV in America that was turned on, half of them were watching X-Men.
Over half of
which
North
is an
America.
Astonishing thing to think about.
Yeah. We try to tell our kids, nowadays, if you get 3 or 4% of the audience, you're doing great and you're a success. We get like 55, 58% of the North American audience watching on Saturday morning during that half hour.
Yeah.
That means that like 50, 60% of the kids are going back to the playground on Monday, and they're going to be talking about our show. We didn't realize that at the time.
Yeah.
But now we think back because we meet people. We've had people in Singapore, Malaysian luggage handlers ran up to us because she was wearing a hat. She said, X-Men, oh, it's our favorite. And they brought all the Malaysian luggage handlers over to talk to us about X-Men.
You watched X-Men? Oh, yeah.
The more we talked about it, the more we realized Fox put it everywhere. Fox got this show to every corner of the planet.
Mm-hmm. That used it it helped them learn English. Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things we can't even fathom. We're still processing, the reach of the show. And I'll also say, I like to think, and we're talking with you folks right now, that X-Men the Animated Series created a bridge into a world that allowed the creation of the MCU. That allowed the creation of the X-Men movies, there was an audience that was discovered, that was created with X-Men the Animated Series, saying these characters can work. And then with the success of the X-Men movies, that then begat Iron Man, Thor, and all those iterations, those things that did not exist, and probably would not exist if there hadn't been the success of good old X-Men the Animated Series.
I know some people have their thoughts about some of the older X-Men movies, but I always say I think Kelsey Grammer was a great beast. I say it all the time. It was very fitting. I don't know. I mean, you need a smart guy to pull off Beast. And I always thought it was fun. I say it on the podcast all the time. I'm glad that you guys brought up the MCU, and obviously now we will see live action X-Men, whether it's 25 or 26 or 27. We're gonna wait. We'll wait. It's fine. We'll wait. But after seeing these early 2000 movies, what do you think about that, and how invested are you in the MCU? I know you say you have no time for anything.
Well, we've seen
every one of the movies,
pretty much all the movies.
Come on,
but see, we haven't seen every episode of every TV series.
Sure.
Plus, oh my God!
It's by too fast. It's by too fast.
Yeah.
But the movies kind of, there's a weird combination. Kind of blew us away because here is like $100-200 million productions with these huge, amazing A-level casts.
Yeah.
All this production value, and all come to life from this, and relating to the stories we wrote for this little cartoon. We lived with these characters for 5 years. So they're really close to us. It's like watching Family Act.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's cool. There were some things that were amazing, like just casting Xavier. For Patrick Stewart. Magneto was great. I didn't imagine him as Magneto, but once he was in the role,
Ian McKellen.
So there was some beautiful casting done and some incredible production.
Oh my God!
And some of the stories really grabbed us. Some of them didn't. That's more of a personal thing. They're not going not going to bat 1,000.
And they could have picked anyone on the team, but they picked the team that had been on the original X-Men animated series.
And we're friends with the guy that wrote the first two, and so we know that
we're friendly with him.
Yeah, that they didn't go to the books; they just went to our show as a reference point. And just because I think they figured, well, the TV show has worked out the way to put these stories on screen versus in the book, which is a different craft.
It's canon. It's canon. The animated series is canon. It is the definitive X-Men experience.
That's right.
I started the podcast that way, and I will end it that way. It is the definitive X-Men experience.
I want to say something a little selfishly, and I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but the Phoenix Saga that you guys created versus the ones in the movie, I came out of the movie theaters both times they did it, saying they had the blueprint. Yeah, they just do what they did for the animated series. What?
Yeah.
These guys, the Phoenix Saga that you guys did, that's the only Phoenix Saga.
Yes.
The only Phoenix I'm accepting.
Yeah.
I believe it mattered that you as an audience had spent 3 years inviting X-Men into your home once a week for 3 years by this point. And then you had the characters grow with you.
And then we took it out to outer space because we didn't for the first couple years. Yeah. And then we kind of expanded a little, and you guys went with it. It was great. Just a quick note on this Phoenix Saga that was kind of a gift to me for the whole show. The first 2 years, we were just writing as fast as we could. And so they just looking at me and saying, here's half a dozen writers, quick, assign half a dozen stories, get them out the door. Okay, boom, boom. So we did that for like the first 26 episodes. And then it was obviously very successful. They gave us more time after the first 2 seasons. So, okay, you've got more time now. So you're not quite as rushed. We want to do this big Phoenix Saga thing. And I said, okay, can I have some extra time on that? I'll get a few people started, but I want to just have the same 2 guys write all 5 episodes with me. And so it was just my 2 buddies from college and me that sat down and did that 5-part story. And so it was otherwise on other episodes, it would be like, grab this guy, grab this girl, grab this guy, grab this girl. You just grab the four that were available, and not necessarily the ones that you would have picked. I said, I want to do this with my 2 buddies, and that was.
Well, you guys had a shorthand,
and we had a little extra time to work on it. So that was very satisfying.
And it's funny, if we dig up somewhere in our stuff, we have a VHS tape that is just the Phoenix Saga.
Yeah.
That we recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
To put you guys on the spot, if you can.
Sure.
If the MCU or Marvel came up to you guys and said, all right, listen, we're stuck here, how would you guys introduce the X-Men into the MCU?
Oh, that is a great question.
Great question, bro.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you caught us without having thought it through.
That is an excellent question.
Yeah. So,
oh my God. Can we say back up the money truck and we'll talk? Can I say that?
That sounds like a plan to me.
Time out. Flag on the play. Absolutely, you brought the X-Men to the masses.
Yeah.
They need to come to you.
But that is an
it's so hard.
Excellent question.
I can't. It blows my mind. I was having trouble keeping track of 8 or 9 X-Men and their secondary people, their friends and family, and the bad guys relations, and who we did that. So just keeping track of the X-Men universe, which is maybe 10% of the Marvel universe. Just keeping track of that and bringing in the pieces and moving pieces around to tell stories taxed me to about my limit. The idea of bringing them in with all the Avengers and everybody else, suddenly you're going from juggling 50 characters to juggling 500 characters, and I just explode.
Feige's a robot. Yes.
Oh my God.
Feige is a robot.
All credit, because even if some things weren't quite as satisfactory as you might wish, dear God, they got that train on the tracks, and they are,
and they've handled it, and they've kept the fans happy, and they've kept this, the movie solid. I mean,
it's been bumpy. It's been bumpy.
There are hits and misses, but compared, usually in Hollywood, what we're used to is if a company makes 10 movies, 2 of them are good.
Yeah.
And 3 of them are watchable, and 5 of them should never been made. So that's making movies is hard. Yeah. And so the fact that Marvel is batting over 500 for the dozens that they've done is just amazing. I mean, credit to Kevin. I mean, for what he's done.
And this, just for example,
and keeping track of it all.
On Disney Plus, the whole Marvel, the short seasons of these new series, WandaVision stunned me. I mean, and I started watching, and I'll hang in there. I'll see where this goes.
Episode 4.
Years, and I've realized and that was so completely different from. The next show that they had or the previous show that they had, they've been able to craft out these character specific short series that are remarkable.
And they've had this 20-year run, which is pretty amazing. I hope they have another 20. I hope people don't get worn out, which is some fatigue, superhero fatigue. I hope that doesn't kick in, or maybe there's a lull and it comes back, because they've so many of them have been so good. I mean, when people ask us, I think we're so character focused that probably the movie Logan was our favorite.
Oh my God!
Of the X-Men.
Oh my God!
That did it, because we think of them as real people.
Yeah.
They just happen to have these powers. They happen to be living together. They happen to have each other's backs during some crises when they're the only people who can handle it. And then to see them later in real life when they're retired or they're losing their powers. That was
God, Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman and Daphne. That was just
that really did
tears.
That did it for us, and
because they earned it.
So you know, the guy that co-created Wolverine, Len Wein, the writer, he with artist David Cockrum, he created Storm and Colossus and Wolverine
and Nightcrawler. He worked for Marvel.
So in the mid 70s, he rebuilt the X-Men almost from scratch.
Yeah.
And
gotta sell those toys.
We came close to him, and he was able to see.
Because he moved out to LA.
And he was in failing health and was soon to pass, but was able to go to see the movie Logan and really loved it.
That's so good.
Wow.
He was like the benediction that mattered. That was the most important.
Yeah.
Right. But Len also, having been a very crazy successful comic book writer in New York, came out to Los Angeles, and those skills don't necessarily transfer, but crazy successful TV writer, and in the fifth season wrote the Captain America X-Men story, which is Old Soldiers is the name of that one.
Yeah.
And when you approached him about writing, I love another episode. He said, "Well, I'd be interested, but I want to use
only if I could use Captain America." And
nice.
Yeah, and the executive said, "Well, we don't have the rights.
There's some licensing issues."
Wolverine, give them a couple of weeks. Papers back and forth. Maybe cost them a little bit of money, but they said, "Okay, we've got the right to use him for one episode." So they did it for Len.
Yeah. Oh, and if you go back and watch 2 things about the Len Wein story, that going back and watching Old Soldiers, there's a moment where and I love it because it's back in time when we see Wolverine crossing paths with Captain America during World War II.
1942 or whatever it was.
And I think they're even up against Nazis, for God's sakes, but they're having to climb a precipice, and Captain America hands Wolverine some grappling hooks, and they use them to climb up the mountain, and Wolverine goes, these are kind of handy. And the gag was he had not yet received the adamantium transplant. But Len Wein said his take was Wolverine had the adamantium added. He was not born with the adamantium.
Not born with claws.
Not born with bone claws. So it's like, okay, there you go. That's the definitive answer if you want to know from Len Wein. He wasn't born with bone claws. But also, Len Wein got to take notes from Sidney Eywater once. Sidney Eywater gave notes on every single script.
Our buddy, our executive at Fox, found himself in a room with Len, and he's going over a script. And
probably Captain America.
And he said, "Wait a minute, Wolverine wouldn't say this."
Oh.
Yeah, that's how much nerve our boss had. He's a great guy. He could stick his foot in his mouth. He could say anything.
Oh God.
And then Len just kind of paused and scratched his chin a little bit and said, "Yeah, he would."
Yeah, I would know.
And that was it. That was it. Cindy's, what am I supposed to say to that? Next page.
The only time they shut up, but I love that talking to the creator of the character. He wouldn't.
I want to go off a Toe's question a little bit, but just kind of just center it into one character. If you can direct one character, because I know both you individuals have directing in your credits that I know. If you can direct one character from Marvel or DC or whatever property, it doesn't matter. If you can direct one character that you really, or even not even a comic character, somebody that you're really passionate about, who would you direct and why?
Are we talking for an animated series or for a live action film or
you can do a Disney, you can do a 6-episode, or you can do a movie. It depends on what you feel. And how would you go about it?
I would like to do that.
Yeah, okay. I've got one that it's a personal favorite reading the books for me. As we fade out here, I gotta let you guys. It's probably midnight where you are.
It's okay.
Yeah, we go into midnight.
Yeah. So there's a series of books by Patrick O'Brien. That they made one movie out of it, and to my mind it was a beautiful movie. They screwed up the relationship, but they're the Maturin
Captain Aubrey
Maturin books. There's
Master and Commander on
Master and Commander.
Navy.
I remember that Russell Crowe's in it.
Yes. Yeah. Russell Crowe was in it. He was wonderful. But those books, there are 20 of those books. God. There's 20 200-page novels. Wow. And the core to them, besides being realistic from 1800 to 1810 about when they're set, about fighting on the high seas, is it's got the best relationship between two guys in the history of writing, period.
Yep.
I mean, much better than like Holmes and Watson. It's like the world's greatest buddy movie over 4,000 pages.
Yeah.
That this guy wrote before he died, and it's just, his name's Patrick O'Brien. If I could do a movie about those two characters, about the captain and his buddy, it's like with Magneto and Xavier.
Yeah.
They are completely different people, but they are thrown into adventures together and complement each other and are there for each other and would die for each other and almost want to shoot each other sometimes. It's like the best relationship that I ever read in the history of writing. And if I could do a movie with those two guys, I would respect it.
Okay, and me being a Star Trek freakazoid, I would like to create my own Star Trek series about the USS Optimi, the medical rescue ship that goes out after anything blows up or explodes or has disaster and has to try and fix the various body parts that are floating around.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well, I made up the Optimi, so please, if it shows up somewhere, let me know because I want to.
Oh yeah. They said it here first.
Yes.
Look at Netflix and Amazon. It's here.
Yeah.
It's here.
That's it.
We do this every week, and we got the professionals with us. Make it happen.
Yes.
I love
Reach out.
Every time I play a video game, I'm always a medic. I say it every time.
Oh my God.
I'm always the medic. I like to heal people. I like to help out. That was awesome. I really would like. I'm not exactly a Trekkie. I'm not exactly into Star Wars either, but that sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah,
sounds like a cool idea.
I'm with that. You know why? Because you're in the middle of the battle if you're a medic.
Oh my God, you're the warrior. You don't have a gun. You're
it's the dude from Saving Private Ryan. Like the whole time he's just that's so good.
No.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
Before we let you go, I have to shout out to my mom when she was alive. She was a big fan of Xena, Hercules, Young Hercules.
Young Hercules, yeah.
God, I just want from her to you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you also for that. Yeah.
Yes.
So before we close out, I want to start from a guy that grew up with literally all of you, like going through Sabonis and everything. You've made my childhood better and my adulthood even better now that I can enjoy your work maturely.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I can literally look at it and go, oh my God, I was learning and I was appreciating and I was growing up with this material.
It's
It's
timeless.
literally been a beautiful experience. You are two of the most beautiful creative artists I've ever been around. So thank you.
And on top of that, you're super cool. You're not dicks.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That is
You
true.
guys are literally you're hitting us with notes by the scene that we would have never heard.
Yeah.
But like from the bottom of my heart, they can make my childhood so much better. So much better. It's so much awesome.
Thank you.
Because you guys were willing to do it. I thank you so much. We love you. Thank you.
If we can come back and chat with you again sometime, that would be delightful.
You are always welcome here.
Okay, and shameless plug department. Folks,
Yes,
we
we'll put it in the we'll put the links up. We'll put it in the chat. We'll do
plug
all of that.
Woo!
She keeps the marketing going.
I try.
Hey,
Hey, Christmas is coming up. They make great gifts.
Absolutely.
If you need a cap, email us, okay? XmenTAS92@gmail. Yeah, we're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Try XmenTAS for X-Men the Animated Series.
Thank you so much for coming by, guys. Really, really appreciate it. You guys have a great evening.
You are always welcome here.
Happy holidays.
You are part of the Knucklehead family now. You are always welcome.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you again so much. This was a lot of fun.
Yes, this is our pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
We're doing this right. Maybe not. We don't know.
There you go.
Come on, man. Look at that. Come on. Come on. Look at what just happened here.
You see this?
Look at what just happened here. Oh, my God. That was incredible.
Yo, to you guys.
Thank you, Pro, for hooking it up. Thank you guys for coming to questions. Wow. I got goosebumps, bro. Wow. What just happened? We talk about that damn show all the damn time. And then boom, they're just here.
Dude, you know what's funny?
Cool people.
What's funny is I had a list of questions that I wrote, but the questions I asked, they just came organically out. I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Quick, listen, there's questions right here on my phone, dude. And none of them, and then all of a sudden I look at them like, yo, I asked all of them.
Yo, quick shout out to Pro for hooking me up with the email and laying up the softball.
So Pro sends me a Instagram message on Sunday. You guys know how I am on Sundays. I'm watching football. It was an intense. I bought some beers and I got lit. So Pro goes, hey, I'm gonna give you an email. Just go ahead and email them right quick. And I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, but that's my dog. I'll do it. I'm like, yo, I'm watching football. I'll email them in a bit. And I didn't know what I was gonna email about. I was like on my third beer. I was lit. So I pass out and I wake up. I'm like, shit, I didn't do the thing. And then Toe hits me up like, yo, look who we got. Look who we got. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? I'm like freaking chat mouth from drinking all night. I'm like, what the hell? Oh my God.
Dude, quite literally, Toe was like, yo, I got the head writer and creator of the X-Men animated series coming on tomorrow. And I was like, what? You're lying.
He put it in the chat. I'm like, what?
Yo, listen, what? I'm at lunch. I'm eating my food and all that. I literally just finished doing something with the LLC. I'm stressed out like crazy. I'm like, let me check my emails. And then I get a response. And I'm like, and the first words in it is perfect timing. And I said, you're damn right it is. You're damn right it is. And then I put the message in the group chat. Which one of y'all coming on tomorrow? Because I need y'all.
Yeah.
Once I saw that, I was like, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, God, bro.
It was funny because right before
that happened, bro. We're all
met
here.
Up with Joe and Show, and Show was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come on because we're doing the tier list. I gotta come on there."
Word. Yeah, but oh man, yeah, we're definitely gonna have them back. we're definitely gonna have them back. And even if it's to talk about nothing, I
wanna hear what they have to say. Like once 97 comes out.
Oh yeah.
And hear some of those stories and shit.
Oh
my
God. I appreciate the fact that they was like, yo, listen, we went through some shit to get that done.
Oh yeah.
They was real. They was like, yo, listen, shit went left. They was trying to not to have us on.
And they were cool. They were cool
and
as
that lady
shit.
at Fox, I forget her name, but I know
Margaret Loesch.
Margaret Loesch. Props to you for putting a good fight.
But yo, she was like that. She was like that with everything, Le.
Yeah.
Like she did the same thing for Power Rangers. Yo, no one wanted Power Rangers here. Only Saban, Naeem Saban. I remember like the whole story is he was in Japan one time doing some toy shit, and he just saw this crazy Power Rangers show over there. He's like, yo, we could do that in America, right? And the only person that would fuck with him was Margaret Loesch. She knew what time it was. She knew what kids wanted. Oh my God.
To the $1 billion lady that understood that this needs to happen.
Yes, she understood the assignment.
I wish through them I want to get her on the show because you set childhoods on the right directions. You have made so many martial artists. I'm gonna tell you right now, because the Martial Power Rangers, I know a bunch of people that are like, yo, I told this kid, that's why I watched Tommy or Jason. I watched Zach. Some moves. Trust me. Amazing shit. But we had them and holy fuckball.
Yeah, you know something like
I'm real with you. I was never nervous. I was just fucking too geeking out nervous.
Oh yeah. No. You know you know what the crazy shit is? Like, I'm happy that Pro sent us the email and I was able to get them and they responded so quickly for y'all. Because like I told Lay in the beginning of this, I will always bet on y'all motherfuckers. Like, I 100% believe that you guys are the best in the business at this shit. And to have them on here and then you guys asking them their questions and knowing what they were talking about when they said some stuff, there was something I had to look up and you guys just knew it. Like this. And I'm like, you know what?
It all flowed. There was no dead air. But like, not only that, it was them because we got on like 10 minutes before and they got on like 5 minutes before. Yeah. And she was already like, yo, what a great person, great people. And it's like we bounced off of each other. Like I say all the time, when I used to like sell DirecTV and stuff, I used to have to like present perfect calls to like my superiors, and we would like put them in a contest from all sides. Who could bring in the perfect call? And like a perfect call isn't going to be perfect if the person on the other line isn't perfect. They were perfect.
Yes,
they were so cool. They were down to earth. They were just quirky and cracking jokes. She got more excited than I did. She was like, oh my God, it was so fun.
that's the crazy shit. 8 o'clock. I'm sitting here. I'm waiting for her to reply to me. Yeah. I'm a little antsy, right?
Yeah.
Tap gets on. Me and him are just sitting here. I'm watching Pro do his show. I'm looking up the IMDb. I'm not trying to overstudy. I'm just trying to let everything go. You guys get on, and I'm like, yo, listen, they haven't replied yet. They said they wanted to test out the link. Maybe there's something going on. Let's figure it out. 5 minutes before the show comes on, they pop up in the little waiting room that I see, and I did here they go, guys. And I was like, in my head, I was like, yes. Because the one thing I did not want to do was disappoint y'all. And they came in and she came with energy. And I was like, yes, thank you so much.
She was energy.
Killed it. You motherfuckers killed it, baby. My team.
She was energy from the beginning. She was energy from the beginning.
Yes.
I saw the both and I had to geek out a little bit. I was like, you understand that, Eric, I grew up with you.
Yeah.
Like literally.
And you knew the whole catalog.
Resume, I'm like, bro, I literally seen everything you worked on from the ground up. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh, here's a great picture to motivate me, which I got sent and helped out. That's my lady, my kid.
Oh, there she goes.
Right now.
She's watching.
We're doing doing our thing. And that's why I was like, yo, the questions have to come. By the way, told you murdered with that question.
That's such a good question. Yo, So click on that link so you can see Margaret. Click on that link. I sent it in private chat.
I got you. I'm gonna show it over there right now.
Yeah, so you can. So that's Margaret Loach with the Rangers.
Right there.
Okay. Wow.
The old school Rangers.
Genius.
Yeah,
She's the original.
Is that the Gold Ranger or Black?
That's the Gold Ranger. That's the Gold Ranger.
Okay.
He was black, but the thing was gold. Yeah.
Gold.
Didn't Jason D. Frank play this Red Ranger?
He took. Yep.
He took over the mantle. Right?
Took over the mantle. Yeah. So that's her right there. She was all of that shit back in the day. Lady was. I learned her story when I watched the story of Haim Saban and the Power Rangers. It was like I saw that shit like 5 years ago, bro. That lady took some risks. And she just told us now she put her job on the line for X-Men. But and she used to just do that.
That's one hell of a bet to take,
man.
What a great call.
Yo, you know
the levels of fuck that he didn't give.
Yeah.
Amazing. That lady's one of the originators of levels of fucks I don't give. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Word. Real quick. I'm giving you guys your flowers, but I want to also give Sho his flowers because the one thing that me and Sho, when we first started streaming, was always we're gonna be ourselves. Right? I always told Sho that I'm gonna be myself. We have to do our thing. Who we are makes us unique. And today, I'm talking to Sho, and I'm telling him I saw the podcast and I saw how everybody else did it, and I got to bring the energy. I got to do that. And he's like, yo, that's what you do, bro. Just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's easy to say, but hard to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
And when you got a team like we do here in this when you got a team that we have here, because you know what? I'm going to keep this whole episode without cursing. When you have a team that we have here, it is very easy to be yourself. No matter who's behind the scenes or on the camera, we all have each other's back. And I'm happy for us right now that we got to experience this, and we will experience more to come.
Watch those people on other interviews. I've never seen them like that. They were so excited. We made them feel comfy.
Their energy was here.
Thank you, Alina.
They were hyped because we were hyped. We are fans, first and foremost.
You knew your shit,
and
bro.
they saw it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
You knew that. That's why we were just. I knew your shit. I didn't want to be here unknowing my shit. I'm like, nah. I'm gonna watch from afar. Nah. I ain't fucking this up.
When Cap said, yo, I can relate to this, and then we all said we can relate to that, that's when it hit home. That's when it was like,
they were like, yo, these people watch the show. These people watch it, they get it. Like, we weren't just trying to do an interview for some likes. No, bro. Like, we're doing this interview because we love that damn show. And y'all wrote it. Like,
you know what it is? Yeah, it's like you say all the time. The best that the MCU is in those interpersonal moments.
Absolutely.
So all of the questions and all the moments we picked were the interpersonal moments. We didn't ask one question about a fight scene.
No.
Like, how come Wolverine never killed anything except for the sun? None of that. It was all interpersonal.
Exactly.
And it's funny when I told them about like the morph thing didn't really bother me. It was just seeing Wolverine. She lost it. She was like, yo, that like I feel like the entire time they were like, yo, that's what we were going for.
You know what's crazy? I've seen 3 podcasts with them on it, and they mentioned the morph thing. I wasn't gonna bring up the morph thing because I was like, you beat a dead horse. But when you bring up the Wolverine thing, no one else bring that up.
Yeah.
Everyone else bring up the fact that they killed Morph. Because it was deeper than rap.
Absolutely.
Because
I didn't care about Morph. I cared about Wolverine.
The most impactful thing was Wolverine dealing with that loss.
Seeing this rough, tough man Wolverine like breaking down for this goofy ass character,
and seeing Beast locked up in jail at any moment, being able to break out and going, no, I'm gonna have my day in court.
Yeah,
and that's the reason. After Cap said it, I go, yo, I love those little moments.
Yes,
when he decks in the stomach, he goes, you don't know what pain is, little man. I go, my man, you're 5'3".
I get it. I
She
get it.
started charging like, yo, you're the slowest guy on the team. Who are you?
He said he gets it.
Yeah, I get it.
How you calling him man? You know what I'm saying?
And she said, and it's funny because they said that that's the only time that the team could have done that. They let that punch slide one time. And yo, that was a common thing. Yo, watch Spider-Man the animated series. He wasn't allowed to punch that entire time.
Okay. Yeah.
No, all you see, no, he can kick and he can throw, but he can't punch.
Web.
Yeah.
You know who couldn't? The kicking and punching, I think, was exclusive to the Turtles, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think they could do some stuff.
The original ones,
it was mostly throwing.
Yeah.
Original Turtles. Throwing.
Yeah, you know what's funny? The new series of the Turtles that happened maybe 10 years, like 5 years ago, something like that on Nickelodeon. They actually had a show where they integrated.
Yes.
And those original Turtles were like, we can't fight.
Yeah.
We're just swinging our weapons around like we don't know what to do. And the Turtles was like, no. You went through training. You know what to do. You just weren't allowed to do it. Yeah. Now you can do it. And they finally hit people and they're like, yo, this is actually pretty cool. And they beat the crap out of everybody.
I tell everyone all the time, that is a good Turtle show, bro.
Yes.
Don't let the nostalgia ruin your experience. That's a good show. And the movie that they did, that they have the original comic book characters in black and white. They have one of the 2000 iterations and the original iterations. And it's like these other two are like super weak. And the comic book characters are like, what the fuck is up with all of the paint you guys got on your yo, watch that movie. I forget the name of it, but watch that Turtles movie. It's so good.
Yo, Pro wants to know how we're feeling tonight.
We're feeling good tonight, Pro. Thank you, bro.
With the alley-oop. With the alley-oop.
I'm feeling accomplished and I'm feeling proud.
Yes.
Because like I know you guys can do this in your sleep.
Back to back.
And not for nothing, I feel like we set the standard.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's funny. From time to time I bring up the fact that I was in the room, Kevin Conroy stood next to Stan Lee, but never got to speak. Like, this is now one of those moments where it's like, all right, now here's the third in the trilogy of comic book moments that I get to speak about.
Oh
yeah.
So I don't know how to come off of this. I'm trying to come off of it gently, but it's hard to just scale down after that. You know what I mean? Like, you trying to slowly come down.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I just spoke to two people that made my whole childhood. Literally.
Yeah.
They both did. You know,
I felt your love, your passion.
That's why I did at the end.
I
was like, listen, very careful. I want you to understand that I grew up with both of you in an insane way. And that was genuine. I was damn near about to cry. Like, yo,
I felt it, bro.
Shit, it was crazy, man.
Yeah. She was about to cry.
Yeah,
bro.
The way we broke down her show. It's like I saw the feeling, like I saw the look in their eyes. They're like, yeah, these fucking geeks got it. They got it. They understood it.
Every time she did the whole,
yeah.
I was with that. I was like,
she like, I'm always hype. I'm always doing the hand stuff. I'm always getting up. I'm always shouting. Like, she was that. I was like, yo, I could fuck with this lady, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Ooh.
That was just fun.
Yeah,
I don't know shit about shit, and I felt it, bro. It was
and the chat with the questions on the side, and them knowing stuff too. It was, when you bring somebody over to the family and like, yo, family, don't embarrass me in front of these people. Y'all didn't embarrass us in front of these people.
We didn't embarrass ourselves. So,
and you know what the funny thing is? When we started and I played the intro, I don't know if Cap heard me, but I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. I was like, they're gonna see us. They're gonna see us.
Funny though.
Yeah, she was. I can see.
We didn't.
I can see y'all while the.
No, we didn't watch it.
Not at all. Yo, I can see y'all on the side when the intro's playing.
Yeah.
And I see all y'all, doing your thing.
You should record it, bro. Why you haven't recorded?
I can't record the green room.
Record
but
the screen.
I saw her and him, and they literally did this. And yo, they started looking at each other, and Eric was like, and then she just started bawling, laughing, and I was like, "We got him! We got him! Right off the bat, baby! We got him!" The whole time after that, the whole time I was like this. All right.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? I was like, I'm gonna stumble on their last name. Cap, you better save me. And I just did the what's going on, everybody? It's Eric and Julia. And Cap saved me. I was like, yes, thank you.
So, you know what's funny? I wanted to bring this up when they were talking about the pronunciation of their name. The little video that I did that went up on the TikTok. I watched 5 videos on YouTube to get the pronunciation of their last name.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I need to get it.
That's
so
awesome.
I had that in the chamber. I was like, I know this now for a fact.
You guys fucking killed it, B. Y'all came prepared. Fucking I was excited for y'all. Oh,
The question started immediately.
Yes.
Like, bro.
Yo, but I'm so glad that everybody had a poignant question. There was like
absolutely
word.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No bullshit. No show fucking question. Damn.
No,
that's why.
Final.
Most of my questions were legitimately on. I just had to have the throwback questions because I was trying not to geek out the whole time. I was trying not to ask stupid questions the whole time. Like, you worked on this, worked on my own extension.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to keep it to relevant, but I was like, oh man, it's hard not to do that. You know what I'm saying?
When I screamed out, "This is for you, Morph," they lost it, bro.
Yeah, they loved it.
And the Gene. Oh man, what a show!
I guess we need something to talk about for another 47 minutes, 30 seconds.
What is left to talk about at this point?
Oh man,
we started here. We started here.
Yeah. We started at the top. Now we're here.
No,
I got a question for you guys. What's a tier list? A tier list for you guys, man, because we got to visualize this. Who are some people you guys would like to interview down the line? Who are some people you guys would like to interview down the line? You guys got to start visualizing this.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
If we can nail someone from the MC, if we can nail anyone from the MCU, but that's not gonna. That's
you want to hear something crazy?
Oh, who
I fucking emailed the Feige, Kevin Feige and shit. I emailed the Russo brothers. They haven't responded back to me, but I emailed all these motherfuckers. I emailed fucking and there you go. I just broke the. I wasn't gonna curse the whole episode. Yeah, I emailed Neil deGrasse Tyson. I emailed Neil deGrasse Tyson so he can talk to us about the MCU and how they did time travel and quantum physics and all that. I emailed him. Yes, I was about to email Bill Nye the Science Guy, but I couldn't find his email.
He'll probably pull up. Bill will probably pull up.
Mess with me. Yo, I emailed Gary V.
Oh, that's my guy. If you could get Gary V in he's just so busy.
Yeah.
Gary V is talking to social media or in front of crowds the entire day. My man gets no time.
Yeah.
No TV shows, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll email whoever.
We got to go to him.
I emailed the wrestler and I even offered to twerk for her. You know what I'm saying?
Bruh. Yo,
but who would you guys want to talk to?
I can't answer that. There's like how do you answer that? Because of course there's a million people you would like to, but you got to try to be realistic. Like, all right, who else can we build off of now? Who else can we?
Honestly, personally, me, just being real selfish,
I have someone.
Garth Evans. That's the guy that wrote the Punisher Max series. The one that I completely fell in love with the Punisher with. And he also did The Boys. So it'd be him.
I
want to get in that twisted mind of his.
We can get an email
when he wrote it.
I have a real one, and I think realistically, he would pull up the voice of Metal Gear of Solid Snake, David Hayter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want to. Yeah, that'd be. Yep. That would be. That now that Metal Gear Solid like changed my outlook on a lot of things in life, bro. That game. I moved on to a different chapter in life after that game. I know people hear me say that, like, how can a video game change your life? Oh, that video game changed my life. And David Hayter was like, number one, it was upsetting that he wasn't able to do Big Boss's voice in Metal Gear 5. It's very disappointing. Kiefer Sutherland did a great job, but I need David Hayter. Nah, man, it wasn't money, man. That guy loves that character so much, he would have taken a pay cut to do that shit. There was a lot of funky things going on with Konami at the time. But yeah, that's one of my legit David Hayter.
Okay.
And it seems realistic. Like he'll pull up.
Yeah.
Oh. To Cabs, I tell you this point. You know what changed my life? Right here.
Well, yeah.
Right.
He said, "Well, yeah."
Right.
Duh.
Yeah. Welcome back, Frank. Making no mistake about it. This change.
You guys were a match made in heaven. You and the Punisher.
What happened?
Like you guys were a match made in heaven. You and the Punisher. Like Le didn't like the Punisher just didn't mold Le. Like Le was who he was. Pulled up to the Punisher, found out who the Punisher was, and was like, "Yeah, I fucks with this guy." It was really like a match.
You remind me.
It was like the Punisher was like, "Hey, you too," and Le was like, "Yeah," and they were like, "Yeah, we're friends now."
Yeah,
and that's kind of how me and Captain America are too, which is funny.
There you go. You see, Cap gets you.
That's
one of those things where
that's how me and Howard the Duck doing.
Yeah.
You are no Howard the Duck, sir. Don't disrespect yourself like that. So what is that? Is that lemonade? Homemade for the chinos?
I just happened to find this big ass cup with some ice in it.
Oh, gotcha. Because you know they have the Chinese food place. They have the homemade ones, which are delicious.
Drinking now is going to be in this.
Nice.
When I'm on the podcast, is this now all of a sudden?
What's that? Organic water?
That's a Black Panther.
Oh.
Organic water. I mean, Wakanda probably has great water.
If I had a heart-shaped turtle here, I would take it all day.
Oh yeah.
But from now on, it's going to be it. It's going to be a thing.
That's dope.
So I guess in our group, that makes you the best collector of Wakandan gear. Huh?
Yes,
Wakandan artifacts.
No. Give me this guy. That guy. Give me that guy. I'm committed. It's on the body.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but Mimi,
you son of a bitch. I heard you.
Who called you a colonizer? Oh, well,
somebody did.
Between the lines, it must have been show.
Hold fuck
you, mama.
It must have been
Wait,
show.
that's me.
Out of everybody in this panel, there's only one guy, and I'm not pointing any fingers. There's only one guy who could be mistaken for a colonizer.
That's right. Sure.
There's only one guy that could use that word. What is that?
Sure.
It was me. I don't even know how to use that. A colonizer. What is
there
this?
You go.
You just said it.
Mad racist too.
Because I heard y'all say it. I don't count.
All right, so it's funny. There was a question today that I had because I got so lost in being geek that I could not ask it. All right, so now there's a whole new phase in the Marvel universe, right? And DC is by as well, by the way. So
yes,
I ask you fellas, all of you. I love this because it kind of stretches the boundaries. In both MCU and DCU, or whatever the fuck they call it now, I don't know what they call it now. I want you to pick a OP character, a shoe level character, to make both a movie and what is it? I know I could say a Disney series. What the fuck is there?
An HBO Max series.
HBO Max series. Thank you.
There you go.
I want you to pick one of each.
So for DC and Marvel.
And Marvel, but okay. I want you to expand it to a series. especially
I'm gonna ask a favor. When you have these questions, let me get like a day in advance, brother, so I can write something down. Like the question of the day is a voice exercise. You know what I'm saying? You be making me go to school, bro. I got you.
We had a voice exercise through the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Yo, not for nothing. If we was gonna do a question a day with them, I would have been like, "Yo, what's your most guilty pleasure meal?" That was my go-to.
So that's a good way to just learn about someone.
Yeah.
So OP character, street character.
Now OP street level, because the reason I picked street level is because both Cabs and myself are massive fan of street level.
Love it.
You can do this.
Can I pick?
One dude? Also, Cap loves Captain America, and he's literally street level in both. He can balance both.
Yeah,
that's why it's unfair. You know what I'm saying? And this is mostly challenging Cap above everybody else.
Oh yeah.
All right. So for Marvel, can I pick one guy for both?
Yeah, of course. No limits.
Where is it? Norn Red, Silver Surfer. OP character for the movie, but start off street level for the series on everything that happened on this planet before Galactus gets there, all the way up to Galactus, taking him, making him Silver Surfer. Then we get the movie.
That's why I did it, you son of a bitch. I like that. Fucking Cap, do what Cap does. Son of a bitch.
Yo, you know what's funny? I had, because sometimes we bring up like pitching ideas and all that.
Yeah.
I had a pitch for an episode for the X-Men animated series if somebody had brought that up.
Yeah.
I have one in the pipe ready to go.
Well, yeah, you know what's funny? Okay. That's another thing we got to do, like a tier list of how to start a Marvel series or DC series or movie even. Like sometimes, because we bring up great ideas. We've all done it before. All of us.
Every time,
right?
Yep.
Like, to this day, I still want to do what Cap said. To this day, Cap said is do
the Wayne family,
funny Wayne shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit, do I want to do that? Because I find that just so hilarious. Like the Joker texting Batman. Oh, you're not gonna answer me now?
I want that. I want that so bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
I want that so bad. But anyway, it's
I got my DC guys
of ideas. A tier list of ideas. You know what I mean? No matter how big or small. You know what I mean? Like I would love to have Krill's on it because Krill's a massive Spider-Man fan.
Oh yeah.
So to see Krills come up with an idea, you know what I mean? Would be great.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah.
So I got my DC guys.
Okay.
So the HBO Max series will be off of Wildcat.
Ooh, nice.
And
damn it, you stole mine, son of a bitch.
The OP movie is a little obscure, Mr. Miracle.
Okay, you just mentioned them earlier
too.
Oh
yes, the escape artist. That's awesome.
Yeah. There's things you could do with Big Bertha and Apocalypse and just all his whole shit. It's intergalactic. You can allude to Darkseid without ever having to put him in.
Yeah, it can be like we said before, like in our interviews, like off-screen shit. Like he's there, but he's not there.
Yep.
Right.
So I have one for Marvel. It will be Thor and Iron Fist.
Nice.
Where the movie would be a war between Kung Lao and Asgard.
Ooh.
But the TV show would be about getting Kung Lao back from the dictator that took control of it. Because apparently, like, let's say there's an Asgardian that went to Kung Lao and took over with his powers. Maybe Loki, because he's never dead. You know what I'm saying? And it's Iron Fist and Thor trying to, cut the restraints that they put on Kung Lao. That'll be the TV show.
I'm with that. Nice. It's good.
Nice.
Honestly, I don't have anything. I'm excited, bro. Like I just keep thinking about what just happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? We've had people here before, We've done a few interviews, and you guys have interviewed some pretty cool wrestlers too. But
yeah,
man,
no, I'm excited.
That was something
the only
else.
thing going through Cab's head right now is
yes. Look at me, like I'm like, yo, that shit was crazy, man.
Yeah, no, I'm still excited off of that. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm not sleeping tonight, like for real.
Yeah,
I got 2 shows.
Okay, go for it, please.
For DC,
this is what Led really wants.
Yes,
this is what
literally. This question was designed for a one-person show.
Forget everybody else.
Hit me up, bro.
For DC, I'll start with a 6 series about Superboy Prime.
Oh,
I want to figure out if he's the strongest DC character.
Okay, I'm with that. I like that.
Right. For the movie, I'll go, and it's gonna be simple. I'll go Killmonger because I want to know, like, I want to see like a story into the dark side of Wakanda. Not the saving, just like I want to see if they drift off into that dark side with him. Maybe with a little bit of Shuri. He could entice Shuri with the gold, black and gold. You know, she's part him. She might be able to convince her, yo, run with me. I don't know, something weird.
I saw some rumors.
You had
that,
me with
like,
Superboy Prime, by the way.
Yeah.
You pull that shit out of your ass. I'm with that.
For real.
I'm with, say no more, bro. That was a good one. I like that one.
Now, is he the strongest though?
He's you know what's funny? He's held as, but it depends. You can never be Superman. Whatever.
Hey, I mean, wait a minute. Isn't he Superman Prime 2? Isn't it the same?
No, well, the way Superman works in the comics is each writer gives him some ability that nobody else put, or they add back in, or basically you can mold him to whatever you need him to be for whatever story you're telling.
He was originally faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, stronger than a locomotive or something like that. Those were his power sets. And then he just became more and more evolved because that's what they needed him to be to fight the people he was fighting.
Gotcha.
True. So what I would do, Cabs, you got one? So researcher? Yeah.
I'm still yes.
So on the Marvel side,
that's Cab's movie.
I'm like, I can't think, bro.
2 options. The first option is it's a series, right? The series follows Domino.
Okay.
Domino does her missions. It's 6 episodes, and they're actually interesting. She-Hulk. You're interesting. That's never going away. Make no mistake about it. It's never going away. I'm the guy doing it. I'm keeping it. Me and Toe are keeping it going.
Final.
And in the movie, it's gonna be Taskmaster, the real Taskmaster. Focus on it. But they're intertwined.
Okay.
At one point, Domino's gonna be recruited to kill Taskmaster. Taskmaster's gonna be recruited to kill Domino. That's how they come together. So there you go. Marvel, you're welcome. I did it for you.
There you go. There you go.
I'm gonna give Cabs more time. Vin playing the theme just came up with a new Disney Plus series, a live action retelling of how the Lewalds and the other people involved made the X-Men the animated series. Give us a live action look behind the curtain, all those stories and all that shit.
Can I make mine? Can I make mine more like a comedy?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. As long as you don't get the writers who did She-Hulk.
You came up with the Bat Family.
I'm always comedy. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, bro. You came up with the Bat Family.
You just can't hire the people who did She-Hulk, and we're fine.
So can I do like a buddy cop kind of comedy with Hulk and Deadpool?
Oh,
and like God. So the thing is, So the thing is, Deadpool is he's not sick, not losing his powers, but like he's feeling a little sluggish, and he kind of gets Hulk to like help him move around throughout certain areas of the city to like just ask questions. Like he's literally like just riding Hulk. Like, hey, jump over there. I have to ask somebody this. Jump over there. I have to ask somebody that. And within 6 episodes, we try to get him fixed. Like we find out what's wrong with him and we get his shit back, and then he's just fine again. I mean, don't get me wrong. Deadpool is kind of OP, but he's street level though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he sticks to the ground. But yeah, that's I would make it funny. I would make a funny TV series. 6 episodes. Let's find out what's wrong with Deadpool. The same way you did the episode for Tone the Show. What's wrong with Show? We're gonna do that, but for Deadpool. There you go. I needed some time.
Nah, hey, genius.
So my now on the DC side that just did Marvel. I like to tie in both TVs and movies. It makes sense, right? So I want Century, right? He develops. He breaks into the place, Super Soldier Serum. But when he breaks into the place, the first person he runs into, above everybody else, he looks at him and goes, "You?" And it's Bucky Barnes. Bucky goes, "What are you doing in here?" He does like an addict. That's what they do. Flies off, and Bucky goes, "What the hell was that?" He comes back, and he realizes after years, Bucky's literally in the middle of the Thunderbolts that we're doing now. Right now, Bucky goes, "Yeah, years ago, some dude broke into a lab and something. I remember him." He comes back down and goes, "Shit, that's him." They say, "Yo, we need a Hulk, Red Hulk." He fails. We need another Hulk, World Hulk.
Okay, shit.
I have one. I have a DC one.
After you go, I have a DC one also. But
I have a DC one.
I'll go after you too.
So we're gonna put Flash and Batman together, right? And like this is gonna be a movie, this is gonna be a comedy as well. This is gonna be like a heartfelt movie where Batman is just like going to certain places with Flash and just like cheering him on. Like, like he takes him to like he gets what's that episode in one of the, I forget which one of the DC shows is it, that like Flash is getting the key to the city and he's like, "Hey Batman, I think it'd be really nice if
Batman and Orion go to his place."
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And he's like, "Hey Batman, it'd be pretty nice if you showed up." And Batman's like, "Give me the address, man. I'll pull up." So he's like just going certain places with like Flash and just like taking them like ice skating and like taking them to like just being proud of Flash. But in that same regard, Bruce kind of gets to be a parent. So he kind of like deals with some of his shit on the low as well, where it's like, "Hey man, maybe I should look, care, like maybe I should look at my parents' legacy a little different, now that he kind of gets to be a parent for the day." Yeah. Two comedies.
Nice. All right, so my DC one is Amanda Waller.
Oh shit.
And Jon Stewart.
Oh.
Where she effectively tries to infiltrate the Green Lantern Corps.
Which, yeah.
And that would be the movie.
Yeah,
that would be the movie. Her and her team would try to infiltrate the Green Lantern Corps to get the power of the Green Lantern. The TV show would start at the end of the movie where they detained Waller.
Oh.
And that series will be the court session in which she has to defend herself in the Green Lantern thing. So she would be on trial in the Green Lantern court.
Would you call that a lawyer show?
Yes. And to keep the green, we're gonna get the writers of She-Hulk to do the lawyer show.
We could get
add a little comedy in there.
We could get the lawyered up guy.
Yeah.
He knows the
stuff. Blind, yeah, the blind one. We'll get the blind one to be in this one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, show.
I got two simple ones. We already seen Black Adam, so I would love a little series about Shazam, so we could get to know the opposite.
Okay.
Of Black Adam. And
I wouldn't mind a Shazam series.
Yeah, me neither.
And another series instead of a movie. What about Blade? Would you guys watch a Blade series?
Yeah. I'd watch anything Blade that you want to give me right now.
It got to be a Marvel Blade because the Blade they did the last time, I didn't even look at that. With the guy from the Italian Job that was jerking off.
Hey.
Yeah, him. Yeah.
When Les said that shit the other day, I was like, I forgot. Please put up a picture of Sticky Fingers as Blade, bro. please, just so. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Look at Joe's face. He found gold over there.
Before he shows it to us, he's dying.
While he's doing that, can I pitch you guys real quick what my episode for the animated series would have been?
That says it all.
Oh my God. wait. I have, please. Okay. The one right next to that one.
And they always need the white girl.
Oh, shit.
Look, that looks like a bad Halloween outfit, bro.
Yeah, cosplay as Blade and whoever she is.
I never watched this. I never watched this show, and I'm glad I didn't. I forgot this shit existed.
I actually heard from quite a few people that the show wasn't bad.
I don't know, man. Anything with Sticky Fingers to me is bad.
Word, a rapper?
I'm sorry. That
look like
you know what? I want to watch. This shit looks like a cover of a mixtape, bro.
Yeah,
that look like
you remember when 50 and Who Kid used to do the G Unit radios? This is like a G Unit radio cover. Is that his stunt double? What's happening here? I'm gonna watch it.
Bigger than him.
I'm gonna watch a few episodes. Just to see what's up.
Look at this, the originator and the impersonator.
That's the Blade. Ooh.
Oh, Lord.
That guy back, B. He still got it.
There you go.
I'm gonna watch it. Well, no, that has to. My bad.
Yo, Cap.
That was cosplay. That was.
Yeah, go ahead, Cap.
No, I'm just saying that I wanted to throw out my idea for one of the episodes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
So this goes off along the line, like not holding back, not dumbing shit down. There's a character called Forget-Me-Not. And his mutant ability is literally he's imperceivable. So unless you're looking and talking directly to him, you don't see him there, you don't remember him being there, you don't hear him, nothing. So you can literally talk to him, and as soon as you turn around and you're not looking at him, you forget that conversation existed. You forget he was standing there. That's his whole deal. And the episode would start off with Professor Xavier talking to him. And he's sitting there saying, like, yo, I don't feel like I've been a member of this team. I don't feel like I belong here. Nobody in the world can see me except for you, Charles. I don't know what to do. And the episode is going back, and any plot holes where people are like, yo, how did they do this? If everybody was here, how did they get out of this? We go back and we show that it's been Forget-Me-Not he was there. He's the one who did that. But as the audience, we are also affected by his mutant ability. We haven't seen him.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the whole point of the episode is for anybody who doesn't think they're being seen or doesn't think they have an impact, they do have an impact. They are, adding something to the environment that they're in. And we end the episode with Aurora and Cyclops looking out there and like, who is Professor X talking to? And Aurora's like, oh, he's just out there, doing his meditations like he normally does. Like they don't even know he's talking to Forget Me Not. And it ends with us not even being able to see him standing there talking to Professor X.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's like a thriller.
Layers on layers on layers.
It's like a thriller.
Yeah. See? You call us a brawling Bruce because we just giving you bangers after bangers after bangers after bangers.
Legit.
But yeah, man. Listen.
I have one last one.
Yeah.
Lady Shiva and Booster Gold, body comedy.
Yes. You know me, Lay. You know I like that shit.
Yo, you know what's funny about that? That's a will she, won't she? But will she, won't she kill him?
Yo, I have one, DC. The Joker and Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor. In a room. Talking about their ideals. Basically, why the Joker wants to kill Batman and why Lex Luthor wants to kill Superman, and they all calling each other on their bullshit. It's just a conversation.
That's good. Shit. I like that.
I have something that kind of just came up when Cap was just talking. I needed to look up something, but I'm thinking of. All right, so this is a little bit more serious. So I'll get the Purple Man, right? So I get the Purple Man to take over, like to kind of like do his whole thing on some low-level street, like not low-level, but some like street, like female, maybe like Elektra or something.
Okay.
But he ends up putting his like, spell on her, and she starts doing a whole bunch of bad stuff, and she just kind of loses it. And she starts going off, destroying everything. And the Purple Man needs to hit up Matt, and they have a little uneasy alliance trying to stop Elektra from going all crazy. Like, it's beyond the Purple Man's control at this point. He's messed her up so bad that she's just prime evil. Like, there's no stopping her. Elektra is Elektra. She is dark, but it's gone so overboard, the mind control, that it's not even that anymore. And she's just seeing red.
Yeah, unlock something in her.
Yeah, exactly. He bought something out of her, and he needs to hit up Matt, and both of them needs to have a little uneasy alliance to try and stop Elektra from going crazy.
Dude, I love when we get into things like this because you just triggered something.
Get it.
He did this. So this happened with Eddie Brock, right? Mr. Negative touched Eddie Brock and turned Venom into anti-Venom. I want to see what happens or what would happen in this weird scenario where Mr. Negative touches Cletus Cassidy.
Oof.
And changes the Carnage symbiote reverse into something good. And watch a maniac on the side of goodness.
Ooh.
Where it's not like Frank Castle where, all right, at least what he's doing can be tolerable to certain people.
There's inherent goodness in him.
Maniac.
Yeah.
Who's now like, oh, I can help you guys. That would be something where you're like, oh, okay.
Like it's like the opposite of cringe almost, where it's like, I don't think I like seeing you nice like this. Mr. Negative, put his shit back.
Wouldn't that kind of be like Deadpool?
No, because I'm talking Deadpool
He's not a bad person. He's
psychotic.
Just
like,
yeah.
I'm talking about Cletus Cassidy. Didn't so Eddie Brock didn't change. The Venom symbiote changed.
Yeah.
Because it went from giving him cancer to helping him out and actually helping his cells and curing him and all that. So I'm talking about the symbiote inside of Cletus Cassidy is now exerting more control. And Cletus goes, oh, so you're telling me that killing is bad, but killing them is good.
Yeah.
So I get to do all the killing I want.
It's just I gotta kill them.
Done from the view, the vantage point of a psychotic person who's like, oh, I just found a playground that I can play in.
I got a loophole. That is good.
Yeah.
That is good.
That's compelling.
Yeah. That's a story.
Because then you got to see like Spider-Man saved the bad guy from him. It's like, we don't kill everyone.
Exactly.
Like he spoke to this person 2 weeks ago. Just killing everybody.
Killing all the bad guys for no reason.
Now that scenario where you just said was Spider-Man trying to now save villains and all that would make more sense than the Justice Society showing up and going, hey, I know they're occupying the country, but geez, man, can you not?
You're killing one too many people.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a Batman, a Batman type of person like that? Ruthless?
You know what I want to see? I think it's weird.
In DC?
Nightwing and Brainiac. They're like Nightwing been raised by Batman, right? But he's also very optimistic. But then Brainiac's logic to a Nightwing.
All right, bro. Good night, man. Good looking up, bro.
Have a good night, bro.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. I want to see the Batman logic, but also with Nightwing's optimism mixing with Brainiac. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to take you across the universe and I'm going to show you what happens with your master's logic and how you can fix it.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, multiverse work there.
Yeah. So for your question, Victor Zsasz would be DC's version of Cletus Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Without the alien symbiote stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just nuts. Doesn't he like he marks himself per like death
for every victim,
per kill? Yeah. He's a psycho.
I don't. It's not even kill. It's every victim.
Okay. I thought it was kill.
So, no, I got it. There's some stories who his victims wish he would have fucking killed them.
Damn.
They get him messed up shit.
Yeah, Victor Zsasz is wild.
Yo, I gotta look him up.
So I got a question for show. I know you asked one in the chat, but what would have been a question you would ask our guests?
That's a good question.
Honestly, after what you asked, bro, nobody could ask shit. You fucked it up for everybody.
Yeah,
you motherfucker.
You did drop the mic on that question, and they were so put on the spot that they couldn't even answer it, but they tried their best.
I did that on purpose.
I know. You said it like, yo, I'm gonna put you on the spot, yo. That really was a good question, man.
I would have asked them if there's something they're writing that they could talk about that's coming up. Maybe they have new stuff that they might be thinking of. I don't know. Maybe, but they can't be able to talk about that.
Yeah,
because
there was some stuff that they told us before the podcast that they had like do not disclose.
Don't ask about it.
What they were working on, but
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I would have fucked it up. I knew it. You fired.
Look though. They knew a lot more than they were letting on though. Because look, this is on Screen Rant, and it was February 2022. So LRM Online reports the producers of X-Men 97, Eric and Julia Lewald, revealed an episode count and a release date window for the upcoming show. So they know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta know what's up. Obviously, you consult those two about that show. You know, of course.
Yeah.
Like you put them on. Like there's no other way around. If you want to make a continuation, then you gotta talk to them.
Yeah.
So they after after everything was said and done, they said that David, he said he has some like extra stuff lingering around where you could bring some people, maybe go back into space again. So it's gonna be fun. So there's no time crunch. There's so much technology. Like I think they're gonna make a banger of a show, bro. I think this is gonna be nuts. And we've been excited, but after today's episode, yeah, maybe I'm more excited for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie, I am also.
I am way more excited for that show now. I was always excited, and that was always gonna be a day one watch. But man, like yo, this is a continuation, and they're gonna be overlooking. Oh shit! Oh shit! Yeah, man, they're all over the internet with that shit. So they knew what was up, but obviously they can't talk. And I wasn't gonna pry either.
Yeah,
no, it was dope.
No,
I'm not trying to make them uncomfortable,
Yeah.
disrespect, because like a lot of interviewers do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
they could feel comfortable to come back and say whatever they want, and I feel like we gonna be pushing buttons where they don't want to be pushed.
yeah, I gotta go cop that book.
appreciate
I
it.
gotta go cop the book. Previously,
Yeah. We
I
need to
gotta cop that now.
Yeah.
seriously.
Yo, I would also ask, is there, because she mentioned she loved WandaVision. Is there a show that she would have felt she could have did better?
Ooh,
Like, is there a show
that would have been a good question
that she saw and she's like, oh my God, I could have did that. I could have did it this way.
That's it. Yo, the nerd in me wanted to ask, and they probably couldn't answer, but wanted to ask why my boy Warpath was in the opening credits, but never actually in a show. But I was like, you know what? I was like, we're getting to deep, poignant stuff. I don't want to bog down with that, you know, little.
That could have been the icebreaker. That could have been the icebreaker.
Oh no, my icebreaker was staying quiet until I can find a spot to jump in. But Cab, yo, I gotta commend you, man. You right out the gate, you were on point, straight out the gate.
Yeah.
I'll put on the phone attitude when it's interview time. That's essentially what I do all day, bro. I just interview people on what they want to cruise on, and then I just sell them a cruise.
Yep. This is what I told y'all in the group chat. It's like, I'm gonna start this shit with some high energy, and then I need y'all. You know what I'm saying? Then let's get it.
Ball.
Yep.
I'm looking these two. Like if you Google them, they're such cool people. They do a lot of like low tier like podcasts. There's a few of them that I'm seeing like 80 views.
Yeah,
90 views.
But they never felt the way they felt here.
It doesn't look like it, bro. Yo, got them from the intro, bro. But they're
I gotta watch that.
They're a really nice. They're just nice people, man. Look at this. They're so nice.
They go back.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Today was awesome, and I'm happy that all y'all was able to make it.
Yeah, man. These people are so nice. They're so fucking nice.
That's dope, man. I hope y'all get to meet more nice people. Everybody's smooth like that.
Word. Yo, real quick, Mimi tagged us in a story she put up of the screenshot of the, and she said, "Yo, just tell us to shut up whenever you need to talk." And we're all like, "No, you talk."
When I asked him that question, I was like, yo, like a lot of people deem this the show that was never supposed to work. What was the biggest obstacle? He said, yo, how much time you got? I'm like, fam, that's why I asked. I'm trying to fill up some time. I'm trying to at least get y'all till 11 o'clock. At least. So go ahead and talk, bro. And you know what's crazy? I was looking at the clock the whole time. Time was flying.
Yes.
Yo, like I checked, it was 9:15. Then it's 9:30. Then it's 9:55. I said, yo, like it was just flowing, man.
Flowing fun.
Yeah.
I felt it. Yeah, did great, man. Listening to it flowed pretty good as well as a listener. It wasn't like this is boring or this is I need to move it along. Nah, it was the same for us. It's 9:15.
Dead air.
Oh shit, it's 10:30. Damn.
Nope.
Dead
It's
air
11.
did not exist, bro.
No,
Nah, it was perfect.
maybe a little bit. Nah. Wow.
Word. And any final thoughts before we call it a do?
Yeah, just one more time. This is one of the situations where it's like being military. You learn that you hope and pray that in a certain situation you have the right team around you. This was one of those times we had the right team.
For sure.
Fellas, this was one of the greatest experiences ever.
Hell yeah.
At least
I
for
mean,
me.
I can't think, bro. I'm telling you, like I just got that shit in my mind. Like I'm gonna get off and pace around my living room for like 15 minutes, bro. Like
try to process the fact that I was able to somebody that I was able to watch from my childhood, their creativeness.
That's crazy.
Literally,
that's
like,
crazy.
I went through it. Like, bro, from Bionic 6 to I don't even know how to express. I don't know how to express that. It's like I spoke to both individuals, and they laughed at what I said, and they expressed interest, and they literally heartfeltly said, "We're so happy we brought that to you." Like
I'm watching these podcasts. I'm watching these podcasts that they did with other. Bro, I'm watching these podcasts they did with other people, and like they wasn't as bouncy and excited, bro. Like whatever, I'm not gonna say anything.
They didn't know shit like that.
I don't know. Look at them shits,
y'all
bro.
Killed it, bro.
Yeah.
They mentioned shit. I think it felt like they was testing y'all. They would mention stuff that I never heard. Oh yeah, cause fucking Wolverine had a bionic or something. Y'all would be right there with them. I seen it. I was in the books. I was like, shit.
The crazy thing is when she's describing certain parts of certain episodes, in my head it was like I remember watching that vividly.
Yes.
Man,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bullshitting.
Yep.
I felt it. Y'all ain't bullshitting. Y'all
I remember when Beast was locked up in jail and Storm and Rogue went to go lock up to get him out, and he said, "No, I'll have my day in court. Don't worry about it. I'll be all right." And then they would visit him from time to time. I remember all that.
And every time, like she said, he's hanging upside down, reading a book, quoting somebody. Like
I told them too. I'm like, bro, y'all was doing inclusion before inclusion was cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and they were like, yes, like, oh man, I'm sorry. I'm looking at a few of these, and I feel like as much as they touched us, like emotionally, I think we did the same to them.
Yeah, we hope. We so hope.
Yo, Lay. I'm with you like this.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah,
because you can ask Cap. When I took the picture with this man right here, I was in your position.
I can only imagine.
I was in your position. I know how you
holding
feel.
the paper like that.
Yeah, I know how you feel right now.
That's crazy.
And you know something, Cat? You know something, Lay?
Yeah.
You did a good fucking job tonight, bro.
Yeah, bro. Bro, my man whipped out the whole catalog. They were like, "You know that,
man?
How the fuck you know that?"
I'm confident in y'all, B. I knew y'all would.
When I realized what they have all done, both of them, both partners, I was like, wait, I literally seen writing my whole life. Like I literally went from to X-Men and then beyond, and it was like I gotta say it. I literally grew up with you as you wrote in your years. So it was a moment, man. Yeah,
bro,
beautiful moment. Yeah, thank you,
I've been
fellas.
telling y'all.
It was a very beautiful moment, man. I appreciated what happened, and I'm so happy I was on.
Yeah, I am happy you was on also. Yeah, man.
Let's go, Lay, bro.
And like
crazy.
I said, plenty more to come, bro. 2023 is gonna be our fucking year, whether they likes it or not. And with a tear in my eye, it's your friendly neighborhood knuckleheads signing out. Peace, everybody. My bad for cutting.